Chapter 533. Yer was still alright. She had heard Jianghu talk about it and had seen the two of them bicker before. However, the most awkward person was Yun Hongwei. He felt as if he was sitting on pins and needles. He could neither persuade nor not persuade them. It was as if the couple was quarreling because of him. When he stood up, Yun Hongwei picked up the wine bottle and poured a glass of white wine for Jiang Liqing. He then walked to Qin Zhen and picked up the decanter to pour her a glass of sober red wine. He smiled generously and said, In-law, come and sit. Qin Zhen had forgotten her manners. She was a little uncomfortable being asked to sit by Yun Hongwei. It was not the right time to lose her temper today. Jiang Liqing's expression was also a little unnatural. After all, not all of his relatives were here today. He had lost all his face. In the past, Qin Zhen would still care about it, but he didn't know what was going on today. Yun Hongwei returned to his seat and raised his glass. He first clinked it with Jiang Liqing's glass. Jiang Liqing quickly stood up. Yun Hongwei then raised his glass towards Qin Zhen. Qin Zhen also raised her glass of red wine. She reached out and clinked it with Yun Hongwei's small white wine glass. She smiled apologetically. Yun Hongwei held his glass and looked at Qin Zhen and Jiang Liqing. His eyes were shining with sincerity. He seemed to swallow his saliva and spoke a little slowly. In-law, our Yi heir is so lucky to be married into your family. To be honest, when I first found out, I didn't dare to believe it. I felt that I was climbing up the social ladder. Yi heir told me that her parents-in-law were easy to get along with. They never said anything harsh. Yun Hongwei said and paused. So our Yi heir is so lucky. I don't even know how many lifetimes of good fortune she has accumulated. Yi heir felt a little inferior. Everyone could see that her father was trying to smooth things over. If the Yun family was still in power, these words would not be said. Just as she was about to lower her head, Jianghu reached out and gently held her hand. She suddenly felt that she had someone to rely on and her sense of inferiority slowly disappeared. Jiang Liqing naturally felt Yun Hongwei's good intentions. He said, In-law, what are you talking about? What do you mean by climbing up the social ladder? As long as the child likes it, we adults are happy. They are the ones living their lives. Let's not talk about family status. Moreover, Yi heir is a very obedient child. How could I have said anything harsh to her? Qin Zhen glanced at Yi heir. Her head was slightly lowered, and her arm was leaning against her son's arm. The two hands seemed to be holding each other tightly under the table. She sighed. If our Zhao Zhao likes it, we will all like it. In-law, you don't have to say that. We're a family. Yun Hongwei smiled. Yes. Family. Let's have a drink. The sound of wine glasses clinking was accompanied by the laughter of the three middle-aged men. Suddenly the atmosphere changed, becoming joyous and harmonious. Qin Rongfang finally breathed a sigh of relief. When everyone calmed down, Qin Feiyu took a sip of juice, turned his head and asked Yi heir with a smile. Sister-in-law, people are going to have Xiao Bao after getting married. When are you going to have a baby? When you guys give birth to little Bao, you have to let me play with it. Yi heir was very nervous about this question. With a marriage like theirs, would they have a baby? Jianghu felt the hand in his palm tensing up and sweating. He said to Qin Feiyu, Your sister-in-law is still so young. How can we have a baby? Moreover, I don't want a baby now. We'll talk about it after a few years. Yi heir sighed. So he really didn't want a child. Qin Rongfang was not satisfied. He said angrily, What else do you want to be considered stable? Tell me, if this isn't stable, what else can be considered stable? Then everyone in the country shouldn't have children. Even Jiang Liqing said at this time, Jianghu, let's not drag this matter out. You know about your brother's situation. It's not easy to have a child. Jianghu's heart sank. Don't worry. If we want one in the future, we will. Yi heir hurriedly said, I still want to find a school to study at. I've already found one. I'll be starting tutoring next week and then I'll be taking exams. So, we'll talk about having a child in a few years. Jianghu glanced at Yi heir, then turned back. Qin Zhen said, I don't care about your matters. Go to the hospital tomorrow for a physical examination. If everything is normal, you can have a child whenever you want. Jianghu knew what his mother meant. She felt that this was too respectful, but Yi heir had already nodded. Okay, Mom. We'll go for a physical examination tomorrow. Jianghu's phone rang. He looked at it and saw that it was Zhuang Yichen. He got up and said he would go out to answer it. The northern end of the floor of Haiwa Tower was very quiet. Jianghu walked over and picked up the phone. Zhuang Yichen said that he had found someone to hack Chen Tong's computer. Moreover, all the IP addresses that he had contacted since the day the photos were taken were all hacked. The photos should be safe now. Jiang Zhao smiled. Did you take stimulants today? You're so fast. Yeah, I was bored out of my mind. Zhuang Yichen sat in the cruise restaurant and looked at the empty seat opposite him. He squeezed the knife and fork in his hand and narrowed his eyes. I can't find anything to do. Let's get Chen Tong in as soon as possible. It's not fun to play with him at all. Okay. Jiang Zhao smiled unrestrainedly. After hanging up, Zhuang Yichen made a call and asked coldly, Where did Qiu and Xiaoye go? Boss, I've been following Miss Qiu. She went to the hospital. Young Master Kong is hospitalized. It seems like he was in a car accident and is being treated. After hanging up, Zhuang Yichen pinched the phone between his fingers and massaged his temples. There was a blood vessel inside that was throbbing violently. There was a fire in the blood vessel that was burning fiercely. He rarely let her eat with him outside, and the few times he did, he chose a very private place. It had been almost 4 years. The number of times they ate out could be counted with one hand. She actually dared to stand him up today. Her phone was turned off. The number that was originally turned off suddenly appeared on his phone screen. He wanted to pick it up quickly but paused for 2 seconds. He slid it open and put it to his ear. What time is it? Boss, I'm sorry. My phone ran out of battery just now. I changed the battery. I don't have time to go tonight. Come here immediately. Zhuang Yichen's voice was still very slow, but his tone was heavier. Xiaoye was silent for a while. That's not right. Why did she still call him boss? We're even now. We've already said that we're breaking up. Zhuang Yichen, don't go too far. Zhuang Yichen chuckled. We're even? Qiu Xiaoya, we agreed on 4 years. During this time, I'll raise you up and give you the fame and fortune you want. When the contract ends, I'll transfer the ownership of the house to you. I'll take care of your family matters. If I want to end it, you won't lose anything. But if you want to end it, I'll stop paying you and the house won't be transferred. But have you forgotten? I've already transferred the ownership of the house to you. Zhuang, you were the one who said that it's just a house. Even if it's only for a month, you should give it to me. I said that I'll return it to you. I didn't force you. Why are you acting like a gentleman now? Ah, so what? If I give you the house, it means that our relationship will end after 4 years. So you're still mine now. You're too much. Qiu Xiaoya, don't blame me for not reminding you. People who are in a car accident are very fragile. If something goes wrong, it'll be troublesome. You'd better drive over quickly while I still have patience. You asked someone to do it? Zhuang Yichen listened to Xiaoye's questioning and pinched the bridge of his nose. I don't need to explain it to you. You're a jerk. Zhuang Yichen raised his wrist and looked at his watch. It seems like you want to know how a jerk does things. Xiaoye held the phone and heard the beeping sound. She shouted a few times, hello, hello, hello. She turned around and saw that the emergency light on the top of the door of the emergency room was still on. She bit the corner of the phone in her mouth. Her lips trembled violently as if they had been frozen by the cold wind. She remembered that she had said to the person inside before, You are my life. My life is called Kang Yun. Jiang Zhao hung up the phone and was about to return to the private room when the door of the first private room opened. High heels stepped out and fell on the carpet without a sound. When the door closed, there was a click sound. When he looked up, Jiang Zhao smiled. Ouyang Yen walked over. Second brother. Yan Yan is here too. Yes, Dad is treating someone to dinner tonight. What about you? Jiang Zhao slid the phone into his trouser pocket. Family dinner. Aren't family dinners rarely held outside? Ouyang Yen knew that the Qin mansion had a special dining area. Most family dinners were usually held at home. Yes, because I always eat at home, I'm a little tired of it. Thinking about it, that didn't seem to be the case. The Qin family chef always made a lot of food. He remembered that day when she was hospitalized, she cried and said that she wanted to eat sea cucumber. He said that he would take her to eat the best sea cucumber in High City. He also knew that she was acting at that time, but he always took her acting seriously. He treated it as a request. She wanted to eat sea cucumber and he agreed to it. That was all. Ouyang Yen smiled gently. Your mouth has always been so picky. People from Bingyi River. She reached out and touched the corner of Jiang Zhao's mouth affectionately as before. Look at you. You didn't even wipe your mouth before running out. This isn't like you. Without Jiang Zhao by his side, Yi Er couldn't help but feel reserved. He found an excuse to come out and look for someone. The carpet was very thick and the woman's footsteps were very light. He slowly retracted his steps. He really didn't come at the right time. So it was Ouyang Yen who called to look for him. Some people said that when a man was willing to cover up, it meant that he still cared. When he didn't care anymore, he couldn't even be bothered to pretend. Perhaps he cared about her feelings and didn't say that he came out to see Ouyang Yin? As she walked back, she bumped into Yunwu's arms. She was still a little dazed. When she raised her head, she rubbed her temples. Sister-in-law, what a coincidence. Unwu supported Yi Er's shoulders. After she steadied herself, he let go and took a step back, maintaining a polite distance. You're eating here too? After Yi Er confirmed that it was Unwu, the first thing she did was to size him up from head to toe. It wasn't obvious on his face, but there was still some green at the corner of his eyebrows. The stray hair on his forehead covered some of it. Is your injury better? It's not a big deal. It doesn't affect my movements. Grandpa invited a few uncles to dinner today and insisted that I come over. Unwu was a little distant from Yi Er. That kind of distance was very natural. Yi Er couldn't help but sigh softly. Perhaps after the fight he was afraid of provoking her. This was really a misunderstanding. Unwu, I'm sorry. I asked you to draw the painting, but Jianghu took his anger out on you. I'm very sorry that things ended up like this. Sister-in-law, why are you saying all this? It's normal that Jianghu can't understand. I think if it were me, I wouldn't be able to accept it either. You should be more open-minded. Don't always take it to heart. Beauty novel Hongcha 866. Chapter 534. Anyway, I'm sorry. It's okay. Speaking of which, I'm calling you sister-in-law. Actually, you've known me for a long time and we can be considered friends. I'm not used to you saying, I'm sorry, all the time. Has your nature changed after you got married? You rarely apologized to others in the past. Or do you not treat me as a friend anymore? Unwu was so magnanimous that Yi Er felt even more ashamed. How could that be? Of course you're my friend. We've known each other for almost 2 years. Hiss, Unwu gasped softly. What's the matter? I'm looking for a place to apply some medicine. My brow bone hurts a little. I told Grandpa that it doesn't hurt anymore. I'm afraid that he'll see me applying the medicine, so I'll find a place to apply it. It'll be fine after some air. His nose isn't very good. Let me apply it for you. Unwu refused. No need. How pretentious. Come on, I'll apply it for you. Unwu really took out a thin glass bottle from his pocket. It was about the size of a bottle of essential balm. Yi Er took the bottle, unscrewed the cap, and applied a little of the medicine onto his fingertips. Are you applying it on your brow bone like this? Yes. Unwu closed his eyes. Yi Er brushed the hair in front of his forehead. The bruises on his fair face looked particularly hideous. When he applied the medicine, Unwu shrank back a little. Does it hurt a lot? Unwu frowned. It doesn't hurt. Yi Er knew that Unwu was a weak scholar. How could he withstand Jianghu's punches? Her high heels had already lengthened her. At this moment, when she stood in front of Unwu, there wasn't much of a difference in their heights. She stood on her tiptoes and brushed the fresh strands of hair in front of his forehead away. Unwu felt a cool breeze blowing into his bone from his brow bone, penetrating into every cell in his body. Yi Er was startled when the bottle in his hand was suddenly snatched away. He quickly stood up straight and turned around. Jianghu gripped the small bottle in his hand so tightly that his knuckles turned white. His eyes were terrifyingly cold, and all that came with them was a snowstorm that cut people. Ouyang Yin was still by his side, standing very close to him. His gaze was as if he had followed Jianghu here to capture him. Yi Er felt as if a piece of rotten cotton was stuck in her heart. Not only did it not allow her to breathe, it also made her feel disgusted. Yinyi, what did I tell you? Yi Er's wrist was grabbed by the man's strong hand and lifted. She replied, She replied indifferently and did not respond at all. She was like a chick caught in a net, waiting for the man to punish her. It was a kind of determination to face death with equanimity. How could she not remember that he said that she was not allowed to be alone with Unwu again? Even if Yunwu's girlfriend asked her out, she was not allowed to go. She had agreed. She had agreed because she could not afford to offend him, because she liked him. Was it because of this that only the state officials were allowed to set fires, but the common people were not even allowed to strike a flint? He could find a secluded place and whisper sweet nothings to his ex-mistress. She could not even speak to a boy who called her sister-in-law. What does mean? Jianghu could no longer care that Ouyang Yin was still beside him. He could not care less that Unwu was still standing at the side waiting to laugh at him. Wasn't that just letting them laugh at him? It means exactly what it means. Yi Er endured the pain from her wrist and tiptoed lightly. She looked at Ouyang Yin with a faint smile and whispered in his ear, Your mistress is watching. Aren't you afraid that she will be jealous if you hold my hand so intimately? When she throws a tantrum later, you won't be able to appease her. Why are you asking for trouble? Jianghu slowly let go of Yi Er's hand. He slowly let go and a gust of air surged out from his chest. He exhaled and turned his head slightly, looking at Ouyang Yen who was standing at the side. He then looked at the woman in front of him. Her face was bright and beautiful. The man standing behind her still had some scars on his face, but his eyes were clear and calm. What a match. These two were both masters of acting. She also knew that Ouyang Yen would be jealous? She knew. She just felt that another woman should be jealous and she was not the one who should be jealous. Did she really not feel anything at all? Not at all? Just now, when Ouyang Yen came to wipe his mouth, he subconsciously took a step back and took out a handkerchief to wipe it himself. However, she did not avoid suspicion and went to apply medicine for Shi Yunwu. She really did not feel anything at all. She did not know what a married person was supposed to do. She had no feelings and no sense of responsibility. Talking about responsibility with her was like talking to a cow. Thinking about what she had said to him in the private room, he sighed and said, "Let's go back and eat first. We'll talk when we get home." Yi Er said goodbye to Unwu and snatched the medicine bottle from Jianghu's hand to return it to Unwu. Unwu did not say anything from beginning to end. He only smiled apologetically at Yi Er. Ouyang Yen called out to Jianghu, "Brother Er, I want to treat you to a meal tomorrow." Jianghu turned to look at Yi Er. Yi Er smiled nonchalantly and looked up. Jianghu's heart skipped a beat. He turned to look at Ouyang Yen and said, "Okay. Let me know when the place is booked." On the way back, Jianghu did not speak. Yi Er did not speak either. It was not until they got into bed and covered themselves with the blanket that Yi Er said, "I don't care about you. Can you not be so hot-tempered next time? I was just applying medicine for Unwu. We didn't go on a date. It's not like you've fallen in love with me. Do you have to be like this?" Jianghu turned around and said, "Okay, but you have to be mindful of your image next time. There are too many people out there. I don't want to be the talk of others after a meal." "Oh, you mean I don't have to be mindful of my image when there's no one around?" Yi Er propped himself up and looked at Jianghu's side profile. Jianghu turned around and said, "Don't you dare." He choked on the words and swallowed them. He smiled and said, "There's no such thing as a perfect wall. Don't you know that? As long as our marriage survives, you should keep your chastity and self-control." "Okay. Good night." Yi Er lay down. She felt that this sleep did not feel good. He was very reasonable today and it was all her fault. That was not all. He even wanted to have a cold war with her, but he actually turned his back and ignored her. She twisted and turned again until she was behind Jianghu. She pressed herself against him and asked with a smile, "Self-control doesn't include abstinence, right?" She looked up at the back of his head and winked. "I'm going to make it clear. If you want me to keep my chastity, you have to give me the conditions to keep my chastity. For example, you have to satisfy me in terms of physical facilities. For example, I'm already used to it when it's late at night. If you insist on withholding my food because of another woman..." Yi Er awkwardly said, I have to look for food to fill my stomach when I'm hungry, right?" Jianghu turned around and pushed Yi Er away. He propped his head up with his elbow and gently pulled the corners of his mouth. He looked at Yi Er and asked ambiguously, "Oh? When have I ever been short of food? I think you're trying to cut my food today." Yi Er's face was a little red, but she still forced herself to say that she did not care. This guy was going to have dinner with his lover tomorrow. What about after dinner? Or what if the two of them met before dinner? "I'm not used to mistreating women." Jianghu still did not move. He just stared at Yi Er. "Nonsense. You're obviously trying to mistreat me." Yi Er reached out to tug at Jianghu's pajamas. Jianghu reached out and grabbed Yi Er's hand, not allowing her to undo the clasp. "Jianghu, we've agreed that we won't quarrel at the head of the bed." I'm not quarreling with you." "Are we quarreling?" Yi Er flipped over and straddled Jianghu. She pulled at his clothes and pants, but the man was strong. At this moment, he valued Jinjia very much and did not let her have her way. She could not win against him. "Forget it. Look at you. Forget it. I'm hungry. Let's go out and look for food." Yi Er swung her hand angrily. This man was amazing. He had a woman. That woman was prettier than her, gentler than her, and more affectionate than her. Yi Er had just gotten off the bed when Jianghu sat up. "Yinyi, where are you going?" "Where am I going?" "You have a lover outside. You can eat your fill anytime. I'm at a disadvantage. I have to find a man." If I can't eat my fill at home, I can eat outside. Yi Er walked barefooted to the wardrobe. Then she pulled open the wardrobe and began to rummage through her clothes. Just as she found a shirt, like she was rummaging through a sweater, her hand touched the hanger. The man pulled her over. What do you mean? Nothing. I just want to find a man to relieve my loneliness. Yi Er wanted to push Jianghu away, but she could not. You're lonely? Very lonely. Yi Er rolled her eyes at Jianghu. Then tell me, how do you want to relieve your loneliness? When Jianghu smiled, it was a little evil. It made people feel that he would do something evil in the next second. If I don't tell you, you won't understand. After Yi Er said this, her whole body was pressed against the wardrobe by the man. If you don't tell me, how will I understand? The mesh panties were removed and thrown to the floor. When the man squeezed in, Yi Er panted and hit him. Jianghu, I like to do it in bed. Then tell me, how do you want to relieve your loneliness? The wardrobe door banged loudly as it was knocked open. The sound of it banging against the door echoed in the bedroom. In the morning, after Jianghu got up and gave his usual morning kiss, he asked Yi Er, Darling, are you lonely? Yi Er had a pair of panda eyes. She rubbed her sore legs and shook her head. No, I'm not lonely. She thought to herself, whoever calls themselves lonely in the future is a pig. Jianghu had an appointment with someone and asked Yi Er not to get up to make breakfast today. Yi Er thought to herself that she would not be able to get up either. She slept until noon. It was Si Jie who went upstairs to wake her up. Si Jie, what time is it? Are you going to school? I'll get up and send you off. Si Jie shook his head and looked a little depressed. Are you hungry? Si Jie shook his head. Dad took the wontons you made from the fridge. We already had breakfast. It's noon? Yes. Si Jie nodded. Yi Er sat up. Then go downstairs and wait for me. I'll go down and cook when I'm done. Sis, Mom is here. Yi Er was shocked. She originally looked a little sluggish, but all of a sudden, it was as if someone had given her a shot of stimulant. All her tiredness disappeared. Mom? Yes, she's downstairs. Si Jie looked into Yi Er's eyes. She's here to ask Dad for a divorce. Yi Er trembled as she took a deep breath. Then she glared at Si Jie and slapped him on the back. What are you doing up here? Go down and accompany Dad, you bastard. Si Jie jumped off the bed from the slap. Yinyi, you bitch. Go down. Yi Er scratched her head. I'll come down immediately after I change. The woman sitting in the living room downstairs did not seem to have experienced any disaster. It was as if everything that had happened to the Yun family had nothing to do with her. She still had the aura of a rich and powerful woman. She was dressed in the latest branded clothes of the season. Come and take a look. Xinwu 799. Yi Er didn't look at Zhou. She just buried herself in Yun Hongwei's arms. Her tears and snot were all over her father's clothes. She nodded. I know. She wished that her mother didn't have it easy. She hated herself a little. She hated herself for being so narrow-minded. Why did she have to be so jealous? Why couldn't she think that it was fine as long as her mother was living well? But even if he was that old, what about Si Jie? How old was Si Jie back then? 7 years old. As a mother, how could she bear to let her 7-year-old daughter take care of her 7-year-old son? How could she rest assured that her daughter was living well on her own? How could she not find out what kind of life her children were living? Her life was so rich. If she wanted to find out, wouldn't it be easy? If she had found out, how could she bear to watch her daughter run around day and night? How could she bear to watch her daughter being driven into a corner time and time again? Her daughter was only 17 years old at that time. A 17-year-old girl who only knew about daily necessities. She really couldn't imagine how powerful a mother she was. Yi Er vented her emotions with tears. She felt that she could cry properly. Her parents were here and she was still a child. Why couldn't she cry? Even if her heart was torn apart, she was still reasonable. After venting her emotions with great difficulty, she pulled Si Jie to sit on a long sofa. Yun Hongwei sat alone on a short sofa. Zhou dragged a stool and sat opposite Yi Er. Yi Er looked at Yun Hongwei and asked, Does Dad agree to the divorce? Yun Hongwei nodded. Yes, he agrees. Yi Er patted Si Jie's head. Then let's go and settle the paperwork tomorrow on Monday. Since both parties have agreed, there's nothing much to say. Perhaps it was because children who had experienced such family changes were exceptionally mature. Si Jie did not cry and throw a tantrum like the children in those cliché novels and TV dramas. He did not cry for his parents to be separated and cried for his parents to be together. He listened to his sister's arrangements and nodded. He did not seem to be reluctant at all. No matter whether Zhou looked at Yi Er or Si Jie, she could not catch their eyes. She knew that Yi Er was avoiding her. Yi Er, I was thinking, what do you think about Si Jie and me and you and Dad? Yi Er's originally weak body suddenly trembled. She looked up. Her previously empty eyes suddenly lit up as she stared at Zhou Yan. What did you say? Yun Hongwei stood up. What did you say? Yi Er walked over and sat Yun Hongwei down on his seat. She handed him a teacup and said, Dad, have some water. He returned to his seat and said, Mom, not only did you come to ask for a divorce, you also want custody rights? Zhou folded her hands on her knees. They were very white, and the nail polish on her nails was bright and beautiful. At this moment, she nervously clenched her hands and looked at Yi Er. She gently licked her lips and said, Yi Er, Mom knows that I've let you down in the past 2 years. I know that you've suffered a lot, but you're doing well now. Jianghu is so well-to-do. You won't have to worry for the rest of your life. As long as you're doing well, Mom will be at ease. Si Jie is still young and needs a mother's love. Si Jie and I. Yun Hongwei's expression did not look right. He reached out and pressed his chest, but he could not speak. As Yi Er listened to Zhou Li's words, she completely ignored her father's reaction. She only felt that her heart was in a mess. Someone kept tugging and tugging at it. It was a mess. She wanted to tug at it again, but it only broke and hurt. She panted as if she had asthma. The grievances in her heart, which she had been holding back, all poured out like a flood of tears. Mom, Mom. Yi Er shouted twice. She clenched her teeth tightly and raised her head. When her small chin was raised, streaks of tears fell from her chin. That cry of great grief and pain tore at Yun Hongwei's face until it turned even paler. Yi Er stretched out her arms and hugged Si Jie tightly. Si Jie anxiously shouted, Sister, I won't go. I won't leave you. Yi Er rested her face on the top of Si Jie's head. Her tears drowned Si Jie's head. Si Jie missed his mother, but he was even more afraid that his sister would be sad. At this moment he could only let his sister hug him tightly. He knew that this was his sister's reaction when she lacked a sense of security. He only wanted to grow up quickly and give her that sense of security. Yi Er's breath was trembling. Her voice also trembled. Mom, what are you saying to me? You're apologizing to me? You're saying that you know that I've suffered a lot? Mom, what could be more hurtful than these words? Mom, why did you say it? I'd rather you not say it for the rest of your life. I'm doing well, so you came out? I didn't marry a hooligan, so you came out? You're relieved? Mom. You know that I've suffered a lot. You know that Si Jie and I depend on each other, so you want to take Si Jie away? Yi Er bit her lips for a long time until blood seeped out. Was I a burden in the past? Just because I had no one to rely on, you didn't even want Si Jie? Si Jie needs a mother's love, but don't I? Do I really not need it? When Dad got into trouble, I was only 17 years old. Don't I need a mother's love? You want me to be a mother at the age of 17. Do you think that I was born without a mother's love? Faced with Yi Er's indignant accusations, Zhou Li covered her face and sobbed. Her voice came out from between her fingers with a whimper. Yi Er, Mom has her own difficulties. Please forgive Mom. Mom knows that it's been hard on you. Mom owes you. Mom owes you. Yi Er's nasal voice was very heavy after crying. What do you owe me? You gave birth to me and allowed me to see the light of this world. I owe you everything. Everything I have now is a gift from my parents. You don't owe me anything. But Si Jie is Dad's life. You can't take him away. Zhou Li glared at her. Yi Er, you can't be so biased. It's not fair that you're biased towards your father. No matter how young it was. Yi Er felt insecure, so she hugged Si Jie and placed him on her knees. Si Jie was as obedient as a cat, wrapped in Yi Er's arms and allowed her to stroke his head. He no longer mentioned anything taboo. Yi Er looked at Zhou Yan. Aside from the pain and tears in her eyes, her voice was filled with a desperate pleading. Fair? How can Mom be fair? Is Dad not fair to you? Ever since I can remember, Dad has never mistreated you. He gave you everything you wanted. When you said you wanted to have morning tea, he took a private jet to Guangzhou early in the morning. When you said you wanted to go to the hot springs, he immediately arranged a trip to take you to Japan. If you took a few more glances at something, he would buy it for you even if you didn't ask. Even when he got into trouble, and you didn't visit him, he didn't blame you. Now that you say you want a divorce, he feels that he has nothing. Even if he loves you, he won't ask you to stay. This man only wants you to live well. Mom, as a person, can you not be so ruthless? Can't you just treat it as keeping Si Jie by Dad's side as a memento for him? Just treat it as if this man has fallen into your hands for the rest of his life. Just give in to him this once, okay? Jolie clenched her fists tightly, not daring to look Yi Er in the eye. Yi Er's words were like a thorny whip lashing her body. Yun Hongwei clutched his chest, his breathing getting louder and louder. His voice was disproportionately weak. Yi Er, don't say any more. Yi Er turned around and saw that Yun Hongwei's lips had turned purple. Suddenly, her brain went blank as if she lacked oxygen. Dad. She put Si Jie down and ran over. Dad. Si Jie also shouted anxiously. Yi Er supported Yun Hongwei, not daring to move. She straightened her neck and shouted at Si Jie with a red face, Si Jie, go and get the phone. Call your brother-in-law. Hurry. At this moment, Jiang Zhao had just come out of his office. When he saw the call from home, he instinctively felt that it was Yi Er asking if he wanted to go home for dinner. He wanted to put on airs, so he let the phone ring once. Soon it rang a second time. Jiang Zhao was a little pleased. Now you know how to look for me, right? Now you know how important I am, right? Now you know how to ask me to go home for dinner, right? Little guy. It wasn't until the phone rang a third time that he slid it open to answer it. The woman's voice on the other end was so loud that her nose was blocked from crying. Jiang Zhao. Yun Yi. Jiang Zhao raised his voice and slapped himself in the ear. He tilted his head, clamped the phone on his shoulder, started the car and asked anxiously, Yun Yi, where are you? Awesome novel Hongcha 866. Chapter 536. Yi Er shouted into the phone. It was as if she had fallen into an abyss and had grabbed onto a vine. However, she was physically weak and was afraid that her hand would slip. That kind of panic and fear broke through the receiver and reached the man's eardrums. Hubby, come back quickly. Come back quickly. My dad is in trouble. My dad is dying. Hurry, what should I do? Hubby, where are you? Jiang Zhao. Yunyi, I'll be right there. I'll be right there. Don't cry. Be good. Don't cry. Jiang Zhao stepped on the accelerator and brake pedal to the limit. He stopped very quickly. He was so anxious that he almost hit the car, but he still calmly comforted Yi Er. Yunyi, what's wrong with Dad? Tell me the situation. I'll immediately find the relevant doctors and ambulances. Take your time. Don't rush. Yi Er's voice was sobbing. Dad is holding onto his chest. He's in great pain. Also, Dad can't speak. His lips are purple. Okay, don't move, Dad. Lay him down. I'll be right there. Jiang Zhao called the hospital director and explained the situation. The hospital acted quickly. They roughly determined that it was a heart problem. The ambulance and the corresponding rescue equipment were all ready. There weren't many cars on Sunday afternoon. Jiang Zhao drove very fast, but the ambulance was more convenient than a private car. So, when he arrived downstairs, Yun Hongwei had just been carried down. Seeing that Yi Er was holding Si Jie tightly with one hand and was unwilling to let go of him while holding the stretcher with the other hand, Jiang Zhao felt a sharp pain in his heart. When he strode over, Yun Hongwei had just been carried into the car. Yi Er immediately bent down to carry Si Jie. Jiang Zhao knew how important Si Jie was to Yi Er, so he wanted to carry him for her. At this moment, Jolie rushed over and pulled Si Jie into her embrace. She grabbed him tightly and said, Yi Er, let mommy take Si Jie away. I beg you, please give Si Jie to mommy. Yi Er was already confused about her own position. She felt like she was being torn apart. On one side was her father and on the other side was her mother. People said that if there were two children to the parents, both were meat on the palms of their hands. But what about parents? Were the palms and backs of their hands the same? Do I have to make a choice? She had no choice but to be biased. Her father needed Si Jie and her mother was living so comfortably. She was so young and her father had nothing. She had once known that people in wealthy families valued their sons. A son was the hope of a family. It was a heavy blow for a man to lose his career in his 40s. If even the only heir of the Yun family was gone, what would he do? Yi Er was afraid of wasting time, so she rushed over and tried to pry Jolie's hand away. Mommy, let go. Leave Si Jie to Daddy and me. You're living so well. Give Si Jie to Daddy. Her words were pleading, but her actions were extremely rough. Even her eyes were red. It was as if she was fighting with someone she had a grudge with. Si Jie grabbed Yi Er's arm and stomped his feet anxiously. Sister. Mommy, I want to be with sister. Jolie coaxed Si Jie. Her grip was not light. Si Jie, leave with mommy. Mommy will love you well. Si Jie, don't leave mommy. Yi Er was afraid that Si Jie would be coaxed away. After all, he was still a child. His stance would definitely be wavering. Mommy, you can't do this. Daddy didn't say that he didn't agree to your divorce. You can't take CJ away. You can't. Daddy is in the hospital. Year, you and Daddy. Let CJ stay with me. Each of the two children will have one. It's fair. Year shook her head as she tugged at CJ. I don't want to be with anyone. I'm already married. I have a family. I have a husband. Daddy only has one child now. I don't want to be with anyone. CJ wants to be with Daddy. I want to be with Daddy. Jianghu suddenly understood why Yeer was tugging at CJ like that. She even wanted to hug him when they were about to get into the car. It was because of CJ. She didn't pay much attention to him when he first appeared. All her attention was on Yun Hongwei and CJ. It turned out that someone had come to snatch her younger brother. Even if that person was her mother, she refused. A man's strength was always greater than a woman's. Jianghu easily pulled CJ out of Zhou Li's arms and carried him. Mommy, I hope that you can respect Yeer's opinion. Now is not the time to fight over the children. Let's send Daddy to the hospital first. Yeer looked up and saw Jianghu carrying CJ in his arms. She was already drenched in sweat. She looked as pathetic as if she had just been fished out of the water. She looked at Jianghu and smiled foolishly. It was as if she had been relieved of a heavy burden. As she smiled, she pouted and threw herself at him. She started sobbing. Hubby, Jianghu felt a lump in his throat. He hugged his brother-in-law with one hand and stroked his woman's back with the other. He couldn't put his finger on it. It was just the way she looked at him just now. He suddenly felt very blissful. That look in her eyes was as if she had finally come to the end of her suffering and had waited for her savior. He had always been her savior. It was pretty good. Yun Yi. I'm sorry I'm late. Don't cry. Hurry up and get into the car. CJ will sit with me. I'll look for you at the hospital. Okay. CJ knew how important he was to Yeer. At this moment he hugged Jianghu's neck like a real child. He was afraid that his mother would drag him away again. Zhou blocked Jianghu's path. Jianghu, go to the hospital. Give CJ to me. Give him to you? Jianghu didn't call her mommy anymore. Actually, he couldn't bring himself to say it. Zhou looked too young. When she stood next to Yeer, they looked like Yeer's older sister. It was indeed different for a young woman to give birth to a child. If it was said that Zhou had a child as old as CJ, people would still believe it. But to have a child as old as Yeer was really unbelievable. It looks like CJ doesn't want to go with you. Jianghu still felt that he should be more polite. Yeer was so anxious just now, but he still called this woman mommy. Although Yeer was a little cunning, he knew that she valued family very much. For the family she cared about, she was willing to do anything. She wasn't like the spoiled miss from a wealthy family at all. Jianghu, CJ is my child. It's only right for him to go with me. Now that Hongwei has Yeer, our allocation is right. Although Zhou Li's makeup was a little smudged, because her skin was very good, she didn't look ugly. It just made her look a little funny when she tried to pretend to be calm. Looking at Zhou Li, who was looking at him with her chest puffed out and her head raised, the sound of the ambulance was getting further and further away. Thinking of the woman in the ambulance who was as anxious as an ant on a hot pan, Jianghu exhaled, walked to the car and put CJ in. Be good and wait for brother-in-law inside, okay? CJ nodded. Then hurry up, brother-in-law. Sister is still waiting for us in the hospital. Zhou Li wanted to open the car door, but Jianghu slammed the door shut and quickly pressed the remote control to lock the car. Zhou Li couldn't open the door no matter how hard she tried. When she knocked on the door, she turned and glared at Jianghu. Jianghu, don't interfere with our family matters. Whose family matters? Jianghu felt that these words were particularly harsh. What did Zhou Li mean by this? Was she treating him as an outsider? He and Yeer were legally married. What did she mean by, don't interfere with our family matters? In the absence of Yeer, Zhou Li obviously had fewer scruples. Whose house is it? You're just an outsider. Jianghu suppressed his anger. He didn't have time to waste here. His woman was still waiting for him in the hospital. Outsider? Now Yeer, CJ, Dad and I. The four of us are living together. That place is called home. I don't know who you're referring to by outsider. Also, Yeer and I have a marriage certificate. If we're not considered family with a marriage certificate, then do we still count as family with a divorce certificate? Zhou Li was choked by Jianghu's words. Her face instantly turned red. Just now, I respected you and called you Mom, because Yun Yi is my wife. I want to take CJ away. The reason I'm interfering with this family's matters is also because Yun Yi is my wife. If she wasn't my wife, I wouldn't have any objections if you wanted to kick up a fuss. But it's obvious that my wife isn't willing to give up the custody of her younger brother. So, I have to interfere until the end. Actually, if it wasn't for the custody of Si Jie, Yi Er wouldn't have come knocking on his door to bribe him. Yi Er didn't just want to protect this seedling now. She had always wanted to protect it. If she wanted to protect it, he would protect it for her. Jolie said loudly, Si Jie is also my son. I'm his mother. I have the right to fight for custody. Don't think that you can do whatever you want just because you abused your power. Even if I have to go to court, I will get the child back. Jiang Zhao smiled, but he sounded a little like a ruffian. Mom. Jolie felt very uncomfortable when Jiang Zhao called her that, so she didn't respond to him. Jiang Zhao still had a smile on his face. She didn't respond? He really didn't want to address her that way. He didn't want to acknowledge a mother who had scared his wife out of her wits even if Yi Er wanted to. He had always been clear about what he hated and what he disliked. Although he did not show it on his face, he would quickly categorize people in his heart. He did not care if they were elders or juniors. Yi Er treated Yun Hongwei well. Yun Hongwei's heart ached for Yi Er. So he respected Yun Hongwei. Yi Er treated Si Jie well. Although Si Jie always bullied Yi Er verbally, in his heart, he was always on Yi Er's side. So he treated Si Jie well. Jolie? This mother. Even Yi Er didn't want to give Si Jie to her. Then he could only apologize. It was as if he respected the woman in front of him, but the words that came out of his mouth were completely emotionless. Mom, I won't abuse my position. I don't know if you've read up on the relevant legal knowledge when you asked for custody, but if Si Jie is still breastfeeding, which is less than 3 years old, as long as you want the child and your financial conditions allow it, the court will usually give you custody. But Si Jie is almost 10 years old now. He can decide for himself who he wants to be with. You can see that if you ask for his opinion, you won't be able to succeed. The person Si Jie relies on the most right now is Yi Er. Even if Dad doesn't seem to have the ability to raise the child, Yi Er can because I can. If you insist on filing a lawsuit, then prepare the materials. I, Jiang Zhao, will accompany you to any court you want. If you're worried that I'll abuse my power, then you can find the media and have the entire process broadcast live. You can do whatever you want. Everything will be done according to your rules. He raised his wrist and pulled up his sleeve. Looking at the hands on his watch, he frowned a little anxiously. Also, Mom, I don't have time to continue discussing the details with you. Although you don't seem to care about Dad's health, Yi Er cares a lot. I have to bring Si Jie over. Come over another day when you're free. Awesome novel Xinwu 799. Chapter 537. As soon as he turned around and pressed the lock, Jolie went to pull the car door open. Jiang Zhao turned around again and reached out his hand to press down. The car door was firmly closed again. He was tall and had a strong silhouette. If his eyes were cold, his aura would be especially oppressive. Jolie took a step back subconsciously. Jiang Zhao rubbed his brows. Yi Er was still waiting for him at the hospital, and there was an elder pestering him. When he opened his eyes, he did not look happy at all. There was only a threatening look in his eyes. Mum, I hope this is the last time you pull on my car door. I am a person who is impartial with my work. I don't want Yi Er to be caught in the middle and put her in a difficult position. You had also said that I am an outsider. You must know the situation when you are dealing with an outsider. Jolie took another step back. She knew that Yi Er was married to a man who could turn the tables in Haiqing. He was 29 years old and was the youngest deputy mayor in the history of Haiqing. But the way he spoke, and the way he looked at Feng Yu was as if he had the power to kill Feng Yu. How can a deputy mayor have this kind of arrogance? Maybe not maybe. He was born with this kind of arrogance. If she had known things would turn out like this, she would have brought Si Jie with her. Seeing Jolie leave, Jiang Zhao nodded politely and smiled like a gentleman. Goodbye, Mom. Be careful on the road. Dong Xuebing opened the driver's door and got in. He fastened his seatbelt and started the car. Si Jie, don't forget to fasten your seatbelt. I know. You are so naggy. Jiang Zhao looked at the rearview mirror. Si Jie had fastened his seatbelt. The car was flying at high speed. Before they reached the hospital, Yi Er called to inform Jiang Zhao that she had been sent to the emergency room. She told Jiang Zhao which building she was in and where she was. Jiang Zhao listened to Yi Er's report over the phone. She was trying her best to suppress her sobbing. He was holding the steering wheel tightly. He wanted to lift the car up and drive it through the traffic. When Yi saw Jiang Zhao leading Si Jie over, she hurriedly ran over and held Si Jie's hand as she asked Jiang Zhao, "Where's my mother?" As she spoke, she looked back nervously. "She went back. Don't worry." Yi was relieved. She held Si Jie's hand and walked to the bench outside the emergency room. "Si Jie, will you go with mommy?" Yi kissed Si Jie's forehead as they sat down. Si Jie felt like he was no longer a man. He was clearly a man, but at this moment he felt like crying. He quickly lowered his head and buried his face in Yi's chest. "I want to be with big sister." Jiang Zhao looked at his brother-in-law who was rubbing his head against his wife's chest. He couldn't be bothered to be jealous. He sat beside Yi and asked softly, "How is he?" Yi stroked Si Jie's head and said, "Myocardial infarction. Luckily it was discovered quickly. He doesn't have a history of this. His blood pressure used to be high. Today he was too emotional." Jiang Zhao looked at Si Jie who was on Yi's lap. He asked with concern, "Are you tired? Let me carry you." Si Jie got down from Yi's lap and sat on the other side. "I don't want you to carry me." He knew his sister was tired. He didn't want her to be tired. Yi was a girl who had been through a lot. She was rare for her age. As long as someone was by her side to help her, she would be able to calm down quickly. She would be able to rationally tell herself what to do next. For example, she wouldn't make a fuss. When should she get someone to send her brother to school? How long should she wait here for her father to be hospitalized? What should she do? Everything was so clear that Jiang Zhao didn't know what to do. He could only listen to Yi's arrangements. He got someone to bring Si Jie to eat and then send him to school. Yi was in high spirits the whole time. She was like an indestructible robot who took care of Yun Hongwei. Yun Hongwei was lying on the bed with tubes inserted all over his body. She sat beside him. Whenever a nurse pushed the door open, she would stand up and ask, "What's wrong? Do you need anything else?" Jiang Zhao looked at the time. "Yi, go and sleep. I'll keep watch." "No, go back and sleep. You still have to work tomorrow. Mondays are the most busy. Go back." "I woke up really late this morning and slept until noon. I'm not tired at all." Yi bent over to adjust Yun Hongwei's blanket. "Then let's hire a nurse, okay? You won't be able to stand it." Yi shook her head. She didn't blame Jiang Zhao because she knew that Jiang Zhao didn't have much feelings for her family. At most, he was just doing his duty. It was already good enough that he could fulfill his duty. What else could he ask for? She didn't believe that suffering and feelings could be empathized with. That kind of deep familial love had to be cultivated for decades. Why should she ask others to empathize with her? If the person lying on the bed was Jiang Zhao's family, perhaps she would also say to hire a nurse. Others would only think that it was all about taking care of him. It might not be bad to hire a professional. Now she understood that she couldn't hire anyone. She could only stay here until the doctor said that the patient was completely out of danger and she could sleep in peace. Otherwise, it would be useless to hire 100 nurses. "I shall go back. I'll stay here." Yi squeezed out a smile at Jiang Zhao. "Go back and have a good sleep. I don't have anything serious to do anyway, so I can pass the time here." Jiang Zhao raised his hand in the air. He really wanted to slap her butt, but he stretched out his long arm and pulled the woman into his embrace. "When you encounter something like this, you're not allowed to squeeze out a smile in front of me, understand? Your husband has money so much that he can't spend it. No matter how expensive the suit is, it can be used as a handkerchief for you, understand?" Her hair had been messy and hadn't been combed. She hated her hair. It had been permed and dyed for too long, so the quality of her hair was more or less damaged. Unlike the Ouyang Yen, her hair was straight and bright like satin. At this time, if that kind of hair fell into his arms, he would reach out and comb it to the end. The hair in front of her forehead was also a little messy, so messy that it stuck to her face. When her face was pressed against his suit, the coarse hair would pull and pull on her skin when she moved her shoulders. It was very annoying. She reached out and hung upside down from the man's waist, hugging his back from behind. Through the material of his suit, she could feel the strong muscles, broad and strong. Her face was on his shoulder, and her tears and snot were all smeared on it. As she sobbed, she pulled his sleeve and pulled his collar and kept smearing it on him. She was born into a wealthy family and became a down-and-out daughter. But at this time she had to use the most expensive handkerchief in her life. Jiang Zhao even cooperated and held his sleeve over, wiping her tears vigorously. He had just wiped the tears on one side of her face, but the other side was wet again. He simply unbuttoned his suit and pulled it up, wiping her entire face. He felt that she was a cute child, a child who was sometimes cute and sometimes bad-tempered. "Hubby." I'm a little sleepy, I want to sleep for a while. Okay, you stay on the bed and sleep for a while. I'll watch over Dad. I'll sleep for a while. Wake me up, I'll take over. Okay. You must wake me up. Okay. You're not allowed to not wake me up. I can't let you watch over him alone. Okay, are you going through menopause? I'm going through puberty. When Yi was about to fall asleep, she was always startled and suddenly opened her eyes. Jianghu showed her the watch and said impatiently, "You've only slept for 5 minutes. Only slept for 6 minutes." Yi could only continue sleeping. She felt that she was a little crazy. A nurse pushed the door open. Jianghu's leather shoes made a sound, so he took off his shoes and walked quickly in his socks. He put a finger to his mouth and said softly, "Nurse miss, please be gentle. My wife is very tired today, and it's not easy for her to fall asleep." The nurse nodded and asked about the patient's condition softly. She looked at the ECG record, registered the ward rounds, and put the record card in the transparent partition at the end of the bed. She turned and walked out of the door. Jianghu took off his watch and adjusted the time on it. After adjusting it, he put it back on. At 3 o'clock in the morning, the nurse changed Yun Hongwei's diaper bag. Jianghu stretched and pinched the space between his eyebrows. He looked at the fluid that had just been changed in the 4 bag inside. He wanted to take a nap. Yi turned over and was suddenly shocked. She immediately sat up as if she had sprained her waist. She saw Jianghu suddenly turn to look at her and said in a daze, "Honey, I'm awake. Come and sleep for a while." Jianghu raised his wrist to look at his watch again. He walked over and sat by the bed. He pressed Yi down and propped the surface in front of her. Then he began to help her tuck in the blanket. "What's wrong with you? You wake up every few minutes. Are you worried that I can't take good care of Dad? If you continue to be like this, I'll call the nurse to give you sleeping pills and sedatives. Do you believe me?" Yi cried too much during the day. Now that she had slept for a few hours, her eyes were especially swollen. Jianghu looked at her and frowned. He reached out and rubbed her temples. Yi sighed and struggled. Sigh. Why don't you sleep first? I'll come and sleep later." Jianghu's face darkened. "I'm not sleepy now. I'll go to work after I wake up." "Go to sleep. I'll let you sleep for an hour. It's only 10 o'clock now. I still have a long time to sleep. Hurry up and get some sleep. I said I'll call you, so I'll call you." Yi shrunk her neck and said softly, "Then I'll go to sleep." Hearing the woman's breathing become more and more regular, Jianghu took out his phone to read the news to pass the time. However, he accidentally opened the photo album. There were a few photos in this phone. He felt that he was quite old-fashioned. He only used the most basic functions of his phone, such as sending and receiving emails, Weibo, and making calls. He sent few messages and received many. He didn't know how to use the camera function. There was a professional camera at home. What could his phone take? There were a few side profiles in the photo album and only he could see them. The people around him didn't have the habit of looking at other people's photos. The house he lived in had other requirements. The bedroom, balcony, and study space were all okay. Because he spent a lot of time in these places, he didn't like to be too oppressed. He woke up early that day and wanted to sit on the balcony. However, she was already watering the plants with a watering can. He lay on the rocking chair by the floor-to-ceiling window and read the news on his phone leisurely. However, she just had to nag and annoy him to death. "Let me tell you. You have to water early. The sun will be too hot later. If you water them, the roots of the plants will be burned to death." He snorted. "Nonsense. When there's a thunderstorm in the summer, all the plants in the city will be burned to death." Beauty novel Jianghu 799. Chapter 538. When he looked up, she was pouting unhappily, probably because he didn't go along with her words. Girls are so vain. He accidentally exited the news and accidentally touched the camera icon. He knew that the camera function on his phone had a sound, so he had to fiddle with the settings for a while before he could get rid of the sound. He was holding the phone from her side profile. In her eyes, he was reading the news on his phone as usual. He looked at the person on the phone. Her little mouth was pouting like a chicken's butt. He couldn't help but want to laugh. Was she really angry? "Have you been watering the plants these few days?" "Of course. It's not good to let the plants die, right? I didn't expect you to be so virtuous." "Of course." She smiled proudly and the corners of her lips curled up. The sunlight was soft and orange, shining from the front of her. Her eyelashes were brushed thin and fine by the light, and the light gathered in her eyes, squeezing the smile out of her eyes and flowing into every cell in her body. The color of her face was pink and extremely beautiful. At this moment he realized that the color of the phone was really good. Otherwise, how could it be possible to put a person in the phone and look so good? He gently touched the camera icon and froze the image. He felt like he was a photographer, capturing a beautiful morning. Every time she called, he would take a few glances at her phone. He put the phone away and looked at the woman lying on the bed. His fingers were slender and slightly cold. He caressed her eyelids and slowly stroked to the ends of her eyes. He lowered his head and pressed his lips on it. He softly said, He smiled. You have to sleep well. My wife's eyes are very beautiful. You don't look like them when you cry so badly. After saying that, he sighed softly. In the morning there was a faint white light flashing through the gaps in the curtains. She took out her phone to look at the time, adjusted the time on her watch and wound it up. She sat by Yun Hongwei's bed. Her waist was a little stiff and she twisted left and right. When she heard the sound of someone behind her, she quickly lay on Yun Hongwei's bed and closed her eyes. Ye sat up and looked around. When she saw the light coming in through the gaps in the curtains, she pulled at her hair anxiously. When she turned her head, she saw Jianghu sleeping by her father's bedside. He was so scared that his 3 souls and 7 spirits flew away. She jumped off the bed and ran over. There was not much fluid left in the 4-bag. She saw that Jianghu was sleeping soundly. If she woke up a little later, she would be in trouble. She was so angry that she stamped her feet and rudely woke Jianghu up. She looked unhappy. It's 6 o'clock. Go to bed and sleep for a while. I'll call you for breakfast at 7. Oh, you're awake. Jianghu stood up. His neck hurt a little. He turned his head and yawned. I told you to wake me up. If you want to sleep, at least wake me up. Look, Dad's 4-drip is almost empty. If he doesn't wake up now, his blood will flow backwards, Ye grumbled. Jianghu rubbed his face, bent over and looked into Ye's eyes. I'm sorry. I'm going to sleep. Ask the nurse to change the 4-bag. He was too tired. As soon as he touched the bed, he fell asleep. His breathing was heavy and even. Ye was so angry that she wanted to find someone to knock on the man's head and tell him not to stay here. He wanted to stay here. He didn't even stay here to watch the night. If he had known, he would have let the nurse take care of him. When Jianghu left, Ye didn't give him a good look. Jianghu didn't care anyway. When he told her later, she would cry and feel guilty. She had always been like this. As long as he helped her, she would try her best to please him and be grateful. Even in bed, she would work harder than usual. She wanted to build a relationship, but she didn't want others to sympathize with her. That kind of feeling was very awkward. Now that she thought about it, it was really annoying. She drove home, took a shower, and changed into the clothes with snot before going to work. Lunchtime. In a high-end Western restaurant, a rich woman sat elegantly. Opposite her was a man in his 40s. He was dressed in a suit and leather shoes and looked like a gentleman. He slowly cut the steak. Jolie cut the steak into small pieces. She cut the steak again and again until it was minced meat. The man opposite her frowned. If it's not to your liking, then change it. Just don't want it. Jolie slammed the knife and fork on the table. Her tone was stubborn and didn't match her age. Yuan Shichang, are you done? So what if I give Xiao Jie to Yun Hongwei? Yuan Shichang smiled. His tone was a little gloomy. How can that be? Yun Hongwei and I are brothers. Brothers are like brothers. He already has a daughter. It's only right for him to give me a son. Jolie looked at Yuan Shichang and said in a low voice, Hongwei's health isn't good now. Xiao Jie is very important to him. When the time comes, we can just have another child. At this point, the corner of Yuan Shichang's mouth suddenly twitched, and the expression on his face began to change strangely. The fork held the steak firmly and the knife was ruthless, cutting into the plate. Only when the sharp sound of the steel knife cutting into the porcelain plate did Yuan Shichang let go of the knife and fork. The knife and fork fell on the edge of the plate with a ding-ding-dang-dang-dang sound. The image of the utensils of the upper class completely disappeared. He picked up the red wine and took a sip. He grabbed the napkin and wiped the corner of his mouth. You'd better not care about my decision. You have to fight for Xiao Jie's custody. Jolie swallowed her saliva. She was a little frightened. Yuan Shichang, don't be so stubborn. Ye is unhappy now. She has suffered for so long. You didn't let me care about her and I didn't care. What else do you want? Now she wants Sijia. I can ignore Hongwei, but I can't ignore Ye's feelings, right? Yuan Shichang snorted. Why do you care about her? If it weren't for this money-losing girl, Xiao Jie would be my son now. You have so much free time all day. How did you give birth to such a jinx? Zhou Li's expression froze. She said angrily, how can you say that about Yi Er? How is she a jinx? If you hate Hongwei then so be it. Don't drag Yi Er into this. She's not my daughter. Why should I care? If you don't want me to say bad things about her in the future, then hurry up and think of a way to get Xiao Jie's custody. Jiang Zhao won't agree to it. If you are so capable, why don't you ask Jiang Zhao for it? Anyway, if you ask me to ask Jiang Zhao for Xiao Jie, I will never do it again. I don't even dare to look into his eyes. Zhou Li is not like the mother of a 19-year-old girl. Maybe she is spoiled by men, and her temper is like a little woman. Yuan Shichang replied. Who does Jiang Zhao think he is? If Jiang Zhao is only a deputy mayor from a poor family, then he is nothing. Zhou Li said angrily. But does the Yuan family dare to go against the Jiang family from the eastern region? This was still too far-fetched. What about the Qin family? Don't you know how much Qin Rongfang cherishes his grandson? If you are so capable, then you can go and provoke Jiang Zhao. Even if Qin Rongfang doesn't provoke him, do you dare to provoke Jiang Liqing from the southern region? Just that group of comrades in arms who are commanders are going to flatten the Yuan family. Zhou Li. Yuan Shichang was so angry that he clenched his fists on the table tightly. You traitorous woman. Zhou Li's expression changed. What did you say? Forget it. Yuan Shichang calmed himself down. My tone is too harsh. Isn't Yun Hongwei pretending to be dead in the hospital? He knows how to use the trick of injuring himself to gain sympathy. Don't you know how to use the trick of injuring yourself to gain sympathy? You know Yun Yi is feeling sorry for Yun Hongwei now. Don't you know how to act more pitiful than Yun Hongwei? Look at the situation now. Whoever Yun Yi helps, Jiang Zhao will help. Speaking up to this point, Yuan Shichang spat. Foxy embryo. Zhou Li stood up with a whoosh. As she bent her legs, the stool behind her was pushed away by her straightened legs. Yuan Shichang, you better watch your mouth. If you continue to talk about Yi Er like this, whoever has the right to take custody of Yi Er can do so. Ask Zhou Yan to do it. I don't care anymore. Yuan Shichang quickly stood up and softened his tone. Okay. Xiao Li, sit down. I've been very angry because of this recently. It's not easy for me, right? Don't be angry. I won't talk about it anymore. I won't say anything bad about your daughter, okay? Zhou Li sat down reluctantly and cut her steak in frustration. Jiang Zhao called Yi Er during the day. Every time he asked if her father's condition was getting better, Yi Er would always say that he was getting better. At 5 o'clock, Jiang Zhao called Yi Er and told him that he had an important social event in the evening and would go to the hospital after dinner. Yi Er mumbled, okay. Didn't Ouyang Yan ask him out for dinner? Yi Er asked someone to get some food from the cafeteria. Before he started eating, someone knocked on the door. Who is it? Yi Er put down his chopsticks, stood up and went to open the door. When he opened the door, he was stunned for a moment. Unwu was carrying a basket of fruits. He was still the same as before, a handsome young man who was untainted by dust. He did not have the pleasant expression he had when meeting friends, only the regret of visiting a patient. Yes. I heard from Grandpa last night that Uncle Yun was hospitalized, so I came over to take a look. Grandpa has more things to do than I do and is very busy, so he asked me to send his regards to Uncle Yun. Yi Er stood aside and let Unwu in. My father is fine too. Grandpa and parents-in-law came over to see him today. The doctor said that his condition is better, so I'll have to trouble you to make this trip. Unwu walked into the ward and placed the fruit basket on Yi Er's dining table. A box of fast food was placed there. He frowned slightly but did not say anything displeased. You're really like a sister-in-law now that you're married. You speak so formally and politely. Did you learn this from Brother Zhao? No, I didn't. Yi Er did not pay much attention to her image. She pulled out a stool and prepared to continue eating. Her father had not woken up yet, so she kept her voice very low. I really feel bad. The doctor is fine, but I still disturbed so many people. I just came over to express my condolences. You're the one who took the situation too seriously. Yi Er buried her head in eating. She was really a little hungry. If her father was not sick, she would have gone out to eat with Jiang Zhao today. She wanted to see if Ouyang Yan had a bottom line. She felt stifled in her heart and waited stiffly. Later she was a little discouraged. There should be a limit to her wishful thinking. She was still full after eating. Yunwa's legs were leaning against Yi Er's dining table. He was almost sitting down. He lowered his head and looked at her wolfing down the food. She was probably starving. Her hair was in a mess and was tied up with a rubber band at the back of her head. Looking at her, it did not look sloppy at all. Eat slower. I'll eat faster. I'll chat with you after I'm done. The corners of Nu's mouth couldn't help but pull up into a soft smile. He was a person who knew how to endure. He could control his emotions well at any time, but her words could always make his heart bloom. When he closed his eyes, he could hear the sound of petals slowly opening in his heart. Welfare Hongcha 866. Chapter 539. After Yi finished eating, she asked the nurse to change the 4-bag. After making sure that her father was fine, she pulled a stool for Unwu to sit by the window. Have a seat. I don't sit. I like to stand. Don't you remember that I always liked to stand when I was painting? What was so good about sitting? She would always notice when he looked up at her while sitting. If she was sitting and he was standing, he could keep his head down, but she wouldn't keep looking up. Unwu, do you remember when I first met you? You were painting on Wutong Street. To think that I thought you were a poor student. I don't have any money. I'm often penniless. Haha, yes. You always swiped your card. Look at what you're saying. You thought I was a poor student and I was too lazy to explain. See? How could you bear to cheat an ignorant girl of her money? Yi sat on the stool and rested her hands on the windowsill. Unwu, you like painting so much? Your family is so well-to-do, but you actually went there to paint. This is something I never expected. Some people are very happy. They do whatever they like. They treat their hobby as a hobby and treat their hobby as a career. They do whatever they want. Unwu said, yes. But after he said that, he sighed in his heart. Who said that he treated his hobby as a hobby? Who said that he could treat his hobby as a career? Who said that he could do whatever he wanted? It was just that he met her by chance at that time. She said that she would come to collect the painting the next day. She said that she would introduce a business to him another day. She even said that she would look for him to paint a portrait next time. But she always gave him a deadline and made him stand there and wait. But he was also willing to wait because of one sentence from her. Sometimes he didn't see her for a month. Sometimes he would see her 2 or 3 times a week. Sometimes he thought that he really liked painting. It wasn't until she disappeared that he realized that he really liked her. She asked him if he had ever been in a predicament where he had no way out. He said no. No matter if it was him or someone else, there was a path where there were feet. He remembered how certain and confident he was at that time. But now he knew that everything would eventually turn out to be nonsense. Because she always left him with no way out, he could only stand in the same place and wait for disappointment every day. He wanted to visit her, but the only way was to get someone to check on Jiang Zhao's schedule and make sure he had a business meeting to attend. He racked his brain to come up with a solution that wouldn't hurt his grandfather, the Qin family, and the Shi family. He didn't know how long he would be able to hold on. He thought that if he liked someone, then he liked her. As long as she was happy, then he would be happy. That was how it was written in the books. But those books were not his life. When he saw her smile in front of other men, he did not feel happy at all. Grandpa said, Unwu, just bear with it. Grandpa believes in you. It's just a woman. You'll forget. He nodded with all his strength. Actually, I like traditional Chinese paintings. I like calligraphy. He placed his hand on the windowsill and looked out at the darkening night sky. The stars were getting brighter and the neon lights were getting brighter as he spoke slowly. Yer lay on her stomach and listened to Nu's words. She liked this feeling. It was as if she had returned to the past, when the sun was unbridled on Wutong Street. There was a boy whose voice was always like that, tinkling like a spring in spring. The more she listened to him, the more relaxed she felt. Even with her eyes closed, she could imagine the splendid spring flowers that covered the entire mountain. There was no pollution. There was only the fresh air and the faint smell of grass mixed with the pleasant fragrance of flowers. I've never seen your traditional Chinese paintings. You didn't grow up in China, so how did you like such things? Actually, I only started to like traditional Chinese paintings later on. I started liking traditional Chinese poems. Yi tilted her head and looked at Unwu. Unwu happened to look down at her and smiled gently. Don't you think those words were written very well? For example, there are trees on the mountain, there are branches on the tree, Xinhua Jun Shijun doesn't know. My heart is a bandit stone, it can't be turned. I'm willing to have someone who loves me, will never be apart. Don't these words look especially good when written with a brush? Yunwa's eyes were as clear as water. At this moment they were even more misty and mesmerizing. Yi looked at him. Hearing these words, she only felt a slight pain in her throat. She wanted to swallow hard. They were clearly words that expressed his feelings. Why did every sentence sound so sad? Xinhua Jun Shijun didn't know. Jiang Zhao always said that it was scary for her to be uncultured, but she also knew the bitterness in it. Unwu, so the scholarly aura in you was influenced by these things. You're still young. Don't be so sad. You'll get depression. In ancient China, many poets died of depression because they were always troubled by this and that. I'm already young. Aren't you even younger than me? You're already married and you still have the cheek to talk about me? I'm older than you, okay? Perhaps men didn't like to be called young no matter how old they were, especially when it was the woman they liked. But women mature earlier than men. This is scientifically based. Generally speaking, a man in his mid-20s is about the same as a woman in her 20s. You're only a few months older than me? Seriously, if we take into account your mental age, you're indeed younger than me. And you snorted. You're spouting nonsense. Yi Er widened her eyes innocently. When did I? I'm just speaking the truth, okay? For the first time, Unwu was so angry at Yi Er that he was speechless. She actually despised him for being young? She actually despised him for not being mature enough? Did she have to be as old as Jiang Zhao to be mature? You already said it's mental age. Am I very childish? No. Yi Er shook her head very directly. Do you mean that I'm always jumping around like a little kid? No. Yi Er continued to shake her head. Do you mean that I'm like those kids who don't have enough fun and flirt with girls every day? No. Yi Er shook her head halfway and felt that she shouldn't answer this question. I don't know. I'll have to ask and then to find out. Unwu really couldn't continue. If he continued, he would be turned into an idiot by this idiot. Yi Er, when you were in school, did a lot of boys like you? A few. But as they liked me, they became brothers with me. What? Because I'm not a woman. In the end, they all fell in love with my friends. I'm the kind of person who often gets cheated on. Yi Er felt that she had only learned to be a little softer in the past 2 years. She used to be a real tomboy. No wonder no man liked her. Are your friends cuter than you? Of course not. They're just a little more sinister than me. I'm too shameless. I feel that it's immoral to steal other people's suitors. Yi Er touched her face and sighed. Yinyi, you're so thin-skinned. It's as thin as a garlic film. One touch and it breaks. Unwu chuckled. You're really thin-skinned. You make it sound like it's the first time I've met you. When Jiang Zhao was eating with Zhuang Yichen, as long as Zhuang Yichen spoke, he would bury his head in eating. When Zhuang Yichen finished, he would wipe his mouth with a napkin and continue talking. Jiang Zhao didn't interfere with Chen Tong's matter on the surface. Zhuang Yichen had thrown out the photos to provoke Chen Tong into exposing Zhuang Yifeng and his gang. However, Zhuang Yifeng probably had something on Chen Tong, so Chen Tong didn't say a word. After Jiang Zhao finished his meal, he drank a mouthful of water and wiped the corners of his mouth with a napkin. He leaned back and said, Don't be anxious about Zhuang Yifeng's matter. You must wait until the matter of the shoreline plates is blown up before you take action. Now that you've given a few houses along the shoreline to your subordinates and they've become the owners, you can do whatever you want. The previous murder case was settled, but after that, it'll depend on whether your subordinates are willing to stop. When the time comes, I'll prepare the political media platform and the government for you. After all, Zhuang Yifeng has someone above him. The branch media won't dare to interfere with the news. If the big political media report this matter first, Zhuang Yifeng will be waiting for the word, death. But you must blow this matter up, the bigger the better. Make it so big that no one can cover it up. Zhuang Yichen took out a cigarette box and took out a cigarette. He held it in his hand and threw it. Jiang Zhao raised his hand and caught it steadily. He held it in his mouth and took out a high-end matchbox on the table. He took out a match and lit the cigarette. Zhuang Yichen took out another cigarette and held it in his mouth. He took out a lighter and lit the cigarette with a ding. He took a deep breath and exhaled the smoke. He narrowed his eyes. Brother Zhao, I've trusted you to make arrangements for Zhuang Yifeng's matter, but don't you find it tiring to keep waiting? You know that Zhuang Jingren was ruthless to the Yun family. I can tell that you really want to help Yun Hongwei get acquitted. Jiang Zhao exhaled the smoke from his mouth. He watched the smoke in front of him fade. He knew that Zhuang Yichen only wanted to get rid of Zhuang Yifeng as soon as possible. How could Zhuang Yichen be so kind as to think about his father-in-law's matter? He furrowed his brows and said in a low voice, Yichen, everything has to be prioritized. Right now the threads are in a mess. There are some hidden reefs that I haven't even noticed. You can tell that Chen Tong is clearly a puppet in front. If you start with Chen Tong and kill Zhuang Yifeng now, our relationship will be exposed. So I'm telling you to handle it separately. Chen Tong will just think that you want to ask for benefits from him. If something happens to Zhuang Yifeng's plate along the coastline, if the political media reports it, Qin Tong will definitely be in the same boat as you. Zhuang Yifeng will never think that you have me behind you. He will only think that Qin Tong betrayed him. And once Zhuang Yifeng is done for, Qin Tong will have a broken leg. It will be much easier to deal with him. Zhuang Yichen smiled helplessly and shook his head gently. When he smiled, he gave off a feeling of elegance. Brother Zhao, now that you've been picked up by your father-in-law, there's no need to rush at all. You can do it slowly. I'm sitting on the stove every day. You can't think about me at all. We'll both win this matter. Jiang Zhao raised his handsome chin slightly. His confidence was evident in his words. It's just that we can't be too hasty. If we mess up, we don't know what the consequences will be. Let's just follow the plan. Jiang Zhao left first. Zhuang Yichen went to Peerless Beauty. As soon as he entered Zhaojun, Xiaoye stood up from the sofa. She didn't say anything and just stared at him with resentment. Zhuang Yichen smiled and walked over slowly. Miss Jiu, what can I do for you? Beauty Novel Songshu 566. Chapter 540. Zhuang Yichen, what's the meaning of this? Why are you looking for me? Zhuang Yichen didn't answer her question. When he asked, he had a cold smile on his face. He sat on the sofa, crossed his long legs and shook them gently. He grabbed a crystal cup and looked at it slowly. He looked at the broken colors inside and listened to the woman's accusation. Ian didn't do anything to you at all. What do you mean by doing this? Me? What did I do? Zhuang Yichen didn't seem to be in a bad mood, but his voice was a little deep. What do you want to know by coming here? Why did you let him get into a car accident? I used to think that you were cold-blooded, but I didn't expect you to be such a beast. The lights in Zhaojun weren't very bright at this time. There were some hidden lights in the private room of an entertainment club. When the crystal cup in her hand was thrown out, it was like a shooting star suddenly streaking across the night sky. The shooting star brushed past the woman's ear. Xiaoye thought that the expensive cup would directly hit her head. She was so scared that she didn't dare to move. It wasn't that she was timid, but it was because even though Zhuang Yichen was too cold and put his own interests first, he had never touched her. The so-called violence was at most when they were in bed for a long time. Other than that, he had never touched her. On the wall behind her was a crystal cup. The tragic sacrifice was a battlefield. After the fierce collision, Xiaoye suddenly trembled. The man stood up with a hua sound and walked towards her. Xiaoye took 2 steps back, but the man still forced his way over. Little demon Xiao, tell me. What evidence do you have to prove that I was the one who caused this car accident? The man only used his imposing manner to approach her. He didn't use any rough moves, but it made Xiaoye shrink back. Guessing. Oh, guessing? Guessing on what basis? Why is Kang Yun worthy of me killing him? Because of you? Because you are my bed partner? Because of me? Or do you think that I need to care about your past with him? You. Xiaoye nibbled on her lips. She had always dressed in bold, novel, sexy and trendy clothes. There was nothing she didn't dare to wear. As long as she felt it was not bad, she would try it on. She liked to package herself in a very gorgeous and enchanting way. She liked to attract everyone's attention. Her short hair was black and glossy, and her tight waist was wrapped around by the tight skirt. The anger and fear in her eyes had yet to dissipate when the man pinched her waist. What about you? Zhou Xiaoyao, you should know your place. Who are you to me? Would I kill Kang Yun for you? You think too highly of yourself. Then why are you still pestering me when we already agreed to break up? Xiaoye was a straightforward person. Perhaps she had never been so straightforward with Zhuang Yichen before. She had always only called him boss. She felt that he was her boss. He supported her without caring about the cost. All she could do was sleep with him. From the bed to the floor, to the bathroom, to the balcony, everything was her work. At this moment, her straightforwardness made Zhuang Yichen chuckle. Others said that Zhuang Yichen's smile was mesmerizing, but Xiaoye felt that she was immune to it. It was just that he looked better when he didn't smile. Anyway, she often saw him smile. Whether it was mockery, teasing, playing, or pranking when he kicked her off the bed, he always smiled. However, she also knew that when he smiled, the words that came out of his mouth wouldn't be pleasant, just like now. Break up? So what? He was still forcing her to retreat. She was like a little chick that couldn't fly in his hands. As long as this eagle was interested in catching her, she wouldn't be able to escape. He lowered his head and bit her earlobe. He was still chuckling softly. Ha, have you forgotten what I told you before? I'm a clean freak. If I suddenly change the woman I sleep with, I always feel that it's not clean. So when I need it, I'll choose a more convenient one. How about this reason? Xiaoya bent her knees, but the man's legs clamped tightly. Let go. I already said that I want to be with Kang Yun. I'm already with him. I'm not clean either. Don't touch me in the future. Is that so? The man asked softly. There was a luxurious beauty leaning on the side of the huge rear projection TV. Something similar to a sofa was always their favorite place for foreplay. It was thick, soft, and cramped. They wanted to enjoy it but couldn't roll around freely. When they couldn't control their feelings, they wanted to go elsewhere. However, they felt that this forced them to be closer to each other. They could only hug and rely on each other. The sound of fabric being torn suddenly rang out. Do you think I don't know? You're an idiot who thinks too highly of yourself. What did Kang Yun promise you? Did he say that he loves you? After you broke up with me, did you sleep with him? Did he touch you? Little demon Chiu, didn't I say that you're a demon? Take out your demon skills and seduce Kang Yun. Back then you were following him, but he still dumped you and ran away. He didn't show up for a few years. He's not even a rich young master yet. What about you? You're a woman who relied on sleeping with men in exchange for your limitless glory today. Do you dare to get close to him? Do you dare to tell him that you were with me? Eating, chatting, and watching movies. Do you think we're together? What bullsh asterisk Tluog? Ah. Xiaoya was forced into a corner to be invaded. Little demon Chiu, I really don't understand. Did you know that you'd be treated like this the moment you came looking for me? Is that why you always dress so sexily in front of me? Zhuang Yichen had always known that between him and Xiaoya, one was heartless and the other was unfaithful. He was good at scheming while she was practical and snobbish. He had never felt like this before. No matter how much he tried to use tricks to make her release her desires, he couldn't find the feeling he had before. The feeling of being free and unrestrained. The more he used, the more he added fuel to the fire. He could only see her talking nonsense about life and death with another man. Although the end result was the same and he was released, he still felt unhappy. He got down from Xiaoya's body and took some wet wipes to clean himself. Xiaoya tugged at her torn skirt and looked at the man who had already straightened his pants. After he tidied his clothes, he really looked like a beast in human clothing. Zhuang Yichen took a glass of wine and walked to where Xiaoya was lying. He sat down and slowly took a sip. Yes, there's a need to explain to you. Kang Yun's car accident was because he was drunk driving. He changed lanes and drove in the opposite direction. Don't tell me you think that I made him drink and drugged him to drive like that? Xiaoya was so angry that she was trembling. Why didn't he explain earlier? Now that he had completely devoured her, he wanted to explain? Find me a set of clothes. Why should I? Zhuang Yichen raised his eyebrows. Because we broke up? You? Just now I had sex with you? Zhuang Yichen lifted the torn fabric on the woman's chest again. The peach blossoms were so tender and beautiful. It was so tempting. This K, he clicked his tongue. Xiaojun, is my private room. The women who come in are either here to entertain my friends or to entertain me. Don't tell me you think that this cafe is just for us to chat? You're not a man. My sexual orientation is very normal. Why shouldn't I have sex with the women who come to entertain me? Am I as stupid as you? F***ck. Ah, you know how to curse. I like it. F***ck? You mean you want to do it again? Get lost. Xiaoya tidied her hair and sat up. She put on her high heels and was about to leave. What? Are you going out like this? If this is the only way out, then let's go out like this. Zhuang Yichen continued to drink his beer. Oh, there are a lot of customers now. You have to be careful of perverts. Drunk men will not be able to control themselves when they see attractive women. What if they get F***ket? It doesn't matter. The men who can come here are either rich or respectable. Getting a rich man to buy me some clothes is a good deal. Anyway, I'm a woman who relies on sleeping with men to have a halo. It doesn't matter who I sleep with. It was not that she was not upset. This man who had slept with her for almost 4 years had always been so cold-blooded. Just as her hand reached for the doorknob, she was scooped up by the man. Her skirt was pushed up and her long legs were spread apart. Just like that, she was lifted up and placed on the man's strong waist as he carried her to the indoor elevator. She punched him. Let go of me. The elevator door opened. Zhuang Yichen walked in and rubbed her butt. Didn't you say that it doesn't matter who I sleep with? It doesn't matter who I sleep with. Tonight if you sleep with me I'll buy you clothes, ha. Damn you. Zhuang Yichen. You shameless D***mn man. Ha, little demon Chiu, after we broke up, Your personality has become more and more likable. After we sleep together tonight, let's break up again and continue tomorrow. After Jiang Zhao and Zhuang Yichen parted ways, he drove to the hospital. He knew that the food in the hospital was not that good. Yi Er was afraid that she would be too tired to eat alone, so he specially packed some nutritious ginseng soup and cooked some of her favorite dishes. In the end, when he pushed the door open and entered, he saw a harmonious scene. The way the two of them were chatting was romantic and heartwarming. In the past, when he bumped into her and Min Zikai in the corridor, he could still say that it had nothing to do with him. Now he did not even have to think about it. He just went over. When he placed the packed food on the table, Yi Er had already stood up. She was a little flustered, but when she saw that Jiang Zhao did not look as angry as he did yesterday, she relaxed a little. Jiang Zhao pulled a chair and sat down. Wifey, come here. Let's eat together. Ah. Yi Er wanted to say that she had already eaten. Hurry up. I haven't eaten yet. Let's eat together. Jiang Zhao thought to himself, what did I eat? I'm going to explode. Seeing Unwu standing there hesitantly, he felt excited. Wifey, hurry up. As expected, Yi Er could not stand Jiang Zhao's sweet advances. She endured her full stomach and was about to sit down. Yunwu's straight brows were slightly arched. She bit her lip and asked Yi Er, didn't you just eat? Before she could finish, Yi Er interrupted, I didn't have an appetite just now. Now that I'm hungry, I'll eat some more. Unwu understood the hope in Yi Er's eyes. Then brother Zhao, sister-in-law, please enjoy your meal. I'll go back first. Okay. Jiang Zhao immediately agreed before Yi Er could persuade him to stay. Jiang Zhao felt that the problem between him and Yi Er might be a problem of age. Girls her age were all obsessed with Korean and Japanese culture and liked those androgynous celebrities. It would be best if those male celebrities appeared in magazines and taught them how to change their single eyelids into double eyelids so that they would look good in photos. Welfare Hongcha 866. Chapter 541. That was what they liked. He couldn't change her all of a sudden. He was never afraid of time. He was only afraid that he wouldn't be able to achieve his goal. Perhaps he should go and find a few Korean soap operas that were just right for him to watch and analyze the thoughts of little girls from the root. Is it good? Yes. Is it good? Yes. Then eat more. Okay. Yi Er felt that she was completely a pig. Whatever her master put in her bowl, she would eat. In the end, she was so full that she couldn't move. Jiang Zhao didn't sleep at all last night and had a lot of meetings in the day. He was a little sleepy and wanted to sleep here for a while. But then Fian called. Brother, didn't you say that there would be a vote today? I've been waiting for you all day but you didn't call. Are you off work? I told you that day that the vote is meaningless. That's it. Just do as I say. Qin Fian was very happy and said that he must go and see Yun Hongwei. Jiang Zhao rejected him. Please don't come over and cause trouble. Wait until father-in-law wakes up, then come over. Qin Rongfang had visited Yun Hongwei in the hospital during the day. At that time it was fine. Later, he found out from Qin Fian that the two of them had slept in the hospital last night. He immediately got angry and rushed to the hospital. Get a better nurse. If I lie there one day, you are not allowed to watch over me like that. Jiang Zhao has to work during the day and Yi Er has to take care of her body. If her body isn't good, what will she do when she gets pregnant? Can you do better than a professional nurse? If your body collapses, you won't be able to do your job well. Yi Er didn't want to comply. Qin Rongfang could see that. He also knew that he was probably too anxious just now, so he changed to a more amiable tone. Yi Er, think about it. If you don't want to go back, Zhao Zhao can only stay here with you. How can he go back alone? What will others say about him? Don't think that he is just a deputy mayor. He has a lot of things to do. As a wife, you should think more. We've talked to everyone in Hongwei's hospital. It won't be worse than you staying here. You should take good care of yourself now. After a while, you can give birth to twins for our family. At that time, one of them will be surnamed Jiang, and the other will be surnamed Qin. Hongwei will be happy to see that. If you collapse from exhaustion, when can I hold my great-grandson? Yi Er also felt that this was right. If this matter was spread out, people might even say that the mayor's father-in-law was in a coma because of heart problems, and he did not even visit him. There might be rumors going around. Although Grandpa's words sounded selfish, saying that all great-grandchildren should have a surname of Qin, he was indeed concerned about them. It wouldn't make sense if he didn't comply. Grandpa had said that if they didn't go back, he would stay here and wait. Jiang Zhao returned home and didn't even want to take a shower. He just lay on the bed. Ye knew he couldn't sleep well and had to take a shower later. She went to fill the bathtub with water for him. When she came out of the bathroom, Jiang Zhao's phone kept ringing. She saw him picking up his phone impatiently. He must be really tired. It's not easy for a man to work. Hello, Yun Yun. Ye was stunned. Hello, no. It's too late and I'm tired. Okay. Let's finish our work for the next few days. Okay, I know. I will remember. Okay. Good night. Ye saw Jiang Zhao answering the call with his eyes closed and then throwing his phone away. She was pissed again. That tone of his was really annoying. It was as if he had to listen to that woman. She rushed over to Jiang Zhao and pulled him. Get up. You're so dirty. Go take a shower. Honey, I don't want to take a shower today. I want to sleep. Shower. You owe me tonight. I'll do it 3 times tomorrow night, okay? You won't starve. Jiang Zhao still had his eyes closed. He frowned and just wanted to sleep. Ye paused. Owe me tonight? Did he mean that she wanted him to take a shower because she wanted to do something? Or was it because he was so tired today because he did something outside? So he didn't have to pay for his food today? No. She mustn't think too much. Seeing is believing. Hearing is false. What's more, she imagined it. She mustn't make wild guesses. But she was still worried. While Jiang Zhao was sleeping soundly, she started to unbuckle his belt. Jiang Zhao felt that his wife was quite considerate. She even knew to unbuckle his belt for him so that he could sleep more comfortably. Good wife. But there was something wrong with his good wife? He felt that his belt was unbuckled, but his pants didn't go down. His panties were unbuckled. He closed his eyes but didn't want to open them. He kept thinking. What was he doing? A new trick. No way, honey, I already said that I'm very tired today. I didn't sleep last night, and today, in order to earn some money, I've been an old cow all day. You should at least let an old cow rest. Although I'm not old and I'm a strong cow and it's okay to do it once, we still have to ensure the quality, right? We can't just close our eyes and go in and out, right? Ye was checking. She was furious. It wasn't the panties from yesterday. She knew that he went home to take a shower and change his clothes. The panties must have been changed too. Then, if he did it with the Ouyang Yan outside, did the panties change? Was the Ouyang Yan's panties the same as the one at home? The panties were quite clean. She checked the key parts from top to bottom, inside and out. It was quite clean. But if it was an affair, how could she tell? Jiang Zhao felt that although this didn't seem like a new trick, why did the other party suddenly have no reaction? What was going on? What happened in between? He lay on the bed and opened his eyes. He saw the woman sitting cross-legged beside him. Her face was confused and ignorant. She was like a child who was curious about everything. She looked at his key parts purely. Pure. What? She actually dared to look at him so purely. This was too much. Where could he put his face? She actually dared to look at him with such pure eyes. Was she asking for a beating? Yunyi, what do you want to do? The man sat up angrily. When he sat up, he felt a bit uncomfortable. Why was he uncomfortable? Because the panties were a bit small. It wasn't just a bit small. The position wasn't right. Although they were husband and wife, when he thought of her pure and harmless eyes, he felt that the atmosphere was not right. What did she mean? She looked at him like that and didn't have any impulse? He was her husband. They slept together every night. She stripped him. She was naked, but she didn't have any impulse? Shouldn't there be some kind of lust, some kind of burning reaction? Shouldn't she be blushing and having an embarrassed expression like before? She should be a bit shy and swallow her saliva a bit, right? How infuriating. Too much of a failure. No, she wasn't like this in the past. She was very strange today. Very strange. Was it related to Xiunwu? So she started to like those pure-looking little boys? She dared. If she dared, he would kill Xiunwu. He didn't care about the bullshit friendship of the previous generation. Ye stared blankly. Me? She stretched out a finger and pointed at her nose. Her face was as if she had just woken up from a dream. Of course it's you. What do you mean? What do you want to do? Jiang Zhao straightened his face and shifted his butt. It was uncomfortable. Taking off his pants was too immoral. He wanted to take it off but didn't want to take it off completely. What was the meaning of taking it off halfway? I don't want to do anything? Ye looked at Jiang Zhao's angry face and was a little scared. Did he hate it when she investigated him? She accidentally glanced at the part of his underwear that couldn't be covered by his waist and swallowed even more. I don't want to do anything. Really don't want to do anything. Jiang Zhao vomited a big mouthful of blood in his heart. His internal organs were bleeding profusely. He was so angry that he almost died. She really didn't want to do anything? F***ck, he was a handsome man with a model's body, and she actually didn't want to do anything with him. She actually dared to not want to do anything. No. She had to do something. Ye couldn't tell what the man in front of her wanted to do at that moment, but there was a hint of viciousness in his eyes. There was a hint of wretchedness in his seriousness and a hint of darkness in his brilliance that made her heart tighten. Damn, was this the legendary hooligan? Wifey, you really don't want to do anything? I don't want to. Really? Ye looked at the man's actions and gritted her teeth. She threw caution to the wind and pulled at her collar. No. Hubby, I really want to do something. I really want to do it. Ye thought that since she was the one who wanted to do it today, shouldn't she be like him and be a little more aggressive? Hence, Ye worked hard to escape the disaster. In the morning, Jiang Zhao woke up. Was good. Although he was tired last night, he slept until dawn. The quality of his sleep was not bad. A woman's physical strength could never be compared to a man's. Jiang Zhao rolled Ye into his arms like he was kneading dough. He kissed Ye's face and kept tickling Ye. When he tickled her, he went straight to Ye's chest. Wifey, you're so naughty. But I really like your naughtiness. Ye couldn't stand Jiang Zhao being so cheap. She reached out to cover his mouth and nose and pushed him hard. Get lost. To be honest, she wanted to stick her finger directly into his nostrils and twist it with all her might. You're the naughty one. After waking up in the morning, his hair wasn't so neat and his clothes weren't so formal. Jiang Zhao shrunk his neck. When he smiled, he looked a little childish. He said cutely, I'm not naughty. It was my wifey who was naughty last night. Welfare Xingwu 799. Chapter 542. Pulled the blanket over her head and wrapped herself up tightly. The voice that came out of the blanket sounded like a giant mosquito buzzing. Jiang Zhao, get lost and go to work. I don't want to see you anymore. I don't want to see you anymore. I don't want to see you anymore. You're a pervert. Jiang Zhao happily went to pull Ye's blanket but couldn't find any seams. He stretched out his arms and hugged the person who was wrapped up in the blanket. He said in a frivolous and aggrieved manner, don't be like this. If we're not family, we won't enter the same house. It's all because of your perverted behavior. You've led me astray. Ye flung the blanket away and was shocked. What? I've led you astray? Jiang Zhao nodded innocently. Yes. Look at you last night. Just thinking about it makes me blush. You pervert. You still dare to talk about last night? Say it again. Say it again. Ye picked up the pillow and hit this pervert to death. Pervert. Wifey, I'm a playboy. You're the pervert. Don't say the wrong thing next time. Be good. Hugging the woman who was so angry that she couldn't find her bearings, Jiang Zhao felt that this Ye was really great. Kissing her felt like kissing a ball of honey. Jiang Zhao buried his head in Ye's chest and took advantage of her. After a while, he still looked delicate. Wifey, you did so many perverted things to me last night. I'm exhausted. Make me some breakfast to replenish my energy. Otherwise, how can I take it when you play like this? If you want to play like this for a long time, you have to serve me well. You. Ye wanted to scold him. You're king, shameless black-bellied attacker. Why must you pretend to be a pure and innocent rabbit? Don't you have any shame? Jiang Zhao raised his eyebrows and blinked. Hurry up and go. Hurry up and go. A few days after Yun Hongwei was discharged from the hospital, the Qin family prepared a family banquet. Qin Rongfang even told Ye that they had been in a hurry to get married, so they only cared about the relatives at home and did not invite any friends. Today they invited the young man's friends to the banquet. Ye didn't dare to accept it. She originally wanted to invite her friends to a banquet after the engagement, but things kept happening and she didn't have any free time. However, she didn't expect her grandfather to bring it up. After all, when she first married into the Qin family, her grandfather was against it. Qin Rongfang called Qin Feifang. Fian, your sister-in-law's family is having dinner at home today. Come back early. Bring some roses or something along the way. I only know of one kind of flower that you young people use to express some kind of mushy love. I want to ask your sister-in-law to invite her friends over to make up for her small wedding banquet. Qin Fian agreed readily. Grandpa, don't worry. Leave this to me. After hanging up, he called his secretary. Beauty, help me order some flowers. I want bright red roses. Get the florist to make them into a heart shape. The more auspicious, the better. It would be best if it means something like, for life, or to grow old together. Do as you deem fit. Handsome, do you have a tip? Beauty, if you don't help the boss properly, your salary will be deducted. Qin Fian was a person who could joke around and do whatever he wanted. He could give him flirtatious looks in the office, from time to time help him fix his bow tie, tidy his clothes, affectionately hug him and flirt with him. He didn't mind any of it. However, when he issued the fine, it was as if he didn't know anyone. He even smiled and said to you, "Beauty, if I give you the commission for this batch of materials, it will be very difficult for me. I'm a person who is most afraid of difficult things, so don't make it difficult for me. I won't give you the commission." Therefore, no matter who it was, no one dared to lower their work efficiency in such a relaxed environment. Even if the pressure was great, they still worked happily because the boss was really too loving. Although the beauty was drooling over Qin Fian's beauty, this kind of drooling did not affect her work at all. It had nothing to do with love. After ordering the flowers, Qin Fian came out of the company and made an appointment with a Japanese client. The secretary's English was good, but her Japanese was a little bad. He told the beautiful secretary that he really wanted to be like those big CEOs on TV and get a secretary who could speak 8 languages. The beautiful secretary immediately said, "Boss, I just signed up for a Japanese class tonight. It won't take long." A good girl. This Japanese client was going to visit a professor at the media college. It would end around 3 p.m. Qin Fian personally went to pick him up. There were so many handsome men and beautiful women in the media college, and all of them had their backs straight. What was this called? Confidence. After picking up the Japanese client from the teaching and research building, Qin Fian and the Japanese client slowly walked down. The two of them communicated in fluent Japanese. Their voices were sometimes loud and sometimes soft, and they were very happy. Xia Qian rode her bicycle all the way. She was wearing a small checkered shirt and a light-colored sweater. With her small fluffy hair, she looked like a fresh and cute little girl. She rode very slowly and looked to the side as she rode. Where were the keys? Where were the keys? Classmate, have you seen a bunch of keys with a doryman hanging on it? No. Beauty, have you seen a bunch of keys with a doryman hanging on it? It's only about this big. No, you can ask someone else. Thank you. Handsome, have you seen a bunch of keys? Hey, handsome. Xia Qian shouted a few times, but the two men in front of her ignored her. One was tall and one was short, one was fat and one was thin. What kind of combination was this? They rode a little closer. Two Japanese? Little Japanese, Xia Qian muttered. No wonder. It turns out that there are two little Japanese. Qin Fian turned his head and saw a face that was more beautiful than a woman's. He pushed the frame of his glasses up his nose and narrowed his eyes. Xia Qian was shocked. This guy. She wanted to turn the car around and quickly leave the scene, but Qin Fian grabbed her hand and asked in authentic Mandarin, "Who's a little Japanese?" Xia Qian felt that anything she said now was wrong. You are a pure Chinese man. Why are you talking in Japanese? Don't you know that foreign relations need to be polite? Then why is he speaking in Mandarin so impolitely? He's like a little pug carrying the shoes of a little Japanese. The corner of Qin Fian's mouth twitched. He said fiercely, "Say that again." Xia Qian was not afraid. She did not want a commission from him. You want to translate for that little Japanese? The little Japanese walked over and nodded politely. His Mandarin was not very standard and sounded like it was mixed with rice. "Miss, there's no need to translate. I can understand Chinese. Also, miss, we are in the great Japanese Empire, not little Japan. It's not small, not small." Xia Qian chuckled. Since Qin Fian refused to let her go, she would not let him go. Haha, Mr. Little Japan, we are talking about the size of China. We are using the square of the territory to calculate it. If we are too embarrassed to add the word big in front of China, you should be more modest, okay? The little Japanese laughed awkwardly. He understood the meaning of modesty, but Xia Qian's words made him a little unhappy. Qin Fian wanted to appease the little Japanese. When Xia Qian saw that Qin Fian had let go of her and was chatting with the little Japanese, she immediately stepped on the pedals and the bicycle flew away. Ye called her friends one by one. Zheng Ling, the only friend she had in the past, asked her to bring her boyfriend Lu Cheng. She invited her friends Xiaoye and Xia Qian. She shamelessly said, "Well, Sister Xiaoye, this is my makeup wedding banquet. As for the red packets, you can give as much as you want." Xiaoye was looking for ingredients and was not satisfied with any of them. "Okay, I'll give you 200 yuan. Good things come in pairs." I'm hanging up, I'm busy. Qiu Xiaoye, you bastard. She called Xia Qian. Qian, I'm having a makeup wedding banquet. Don't forget to give me a red packet. Xia Qian had just parked her bicycle and was panting heavily. She was so tired that she started to climb the stairs while panting. Yinyi, do you have any shame? You have the nerve to say that this is a makeup wedding banquet. Think about it yourself. Did you do something immoral? Yi Er was stunned. Did I invite the wrong person? Xia Qian said, think about it yourself. What do you mean by a makeup wedding banquet? When you got married, my sister and I put in a lot of effort. In the end, you just greeted us and didn't even invite us. Yi Er's eyes widened. Xia Qian, don't talk nonsense. I told you at the time that we only invited our relatives and elders. We didn't invite our friends from both sides. I'll invite them next time. How did this matter become her fault? Moreover, at that time, everyone was very understanding. They all said that it was fine, and that they should first appease the family. After all, they got married too quickly, and it was incomparable to other people who had prepared for a few months. Xia Qian was tired from climbing and took a break. That's right. Marriage is for a lifetime and you have the nerve to ask for a next time. You invited us to dinner to ask for forgiveness. Let me tell you, you didn't treat us as friends at all. You hurt our sincere feelings for you and you still have the nerve to ask for a red packet. My sister and I helped you so sincerely, but did we ask for a red packet? Did we ask for one? How can you say something so hurtful? Why are you such a woman who only cares about money and not people? Xia Qian said sincerely. Yi Er was so angry that she stomped her feet. Hey Xia Qian, you're digressing. What are you digressing about? Yunyi, let me tell you, we'll settle the score at the wedding banquet slowly. You hurt my sister and my feelings, so we have to make things clear. I've never seen a friend like you. Others treat you as a friend, but you treat them as if they're at your beck and call. Yi Er held the phone and interrupted Xia Qian, not allowing her to say anything else. If she did, she would say all kinds of nasty things. Xia Qian, I don't want your red packet anymore. *CK. You make it sound as if I had betrayed my country. Is it that serious? Xia Qian laughed heartily. Hey, where are we eating? Are there any dishes I like? Let me tell you, what do I like to eat? Okay, stop talking. I'm annoyed just listening to you. My husband will send someone to pick you up later. Bring whatever you like. If there's nothing you like, I'm hanging up. Hung up the phone. What sisters? Are there any sisters who are so petty? What a pair of troublemakers. When Jiang Zhao arrived at the Qin residence, he went to his room in the north to wash his face. Yi Er followed behind him like a little pug, following him wherever he went. After Jiang Zhao finished washing his face, Yi Er handed him a towel. When Jiang Zhao came out of the bathroom, Yi Er followed him all the way with her mouth propped up. Jiang Zhao turned around and hugged Yi Er. He lowered his head and started nibbling on her neck. Honey, don't be like this. Don't be like this. The banquet is about to start. If you're not satisfied, we won't be able to finish it in such a short time. Let's talk about it when we get home tonight. Yi Er let Jiang Zhao nibble on her as she wriggled and stomped her feet in his arms. Hubby. Jiang Zhao hugged the beauty. He knew Yi Er had something to say, but he couldn't help teasing her. He felt that this kind of life was wonderful. Yes, my good wife. Do you really want to? Beauty novel, Xinwu 799. Chapter 543. Hubby, I didn't get a red packet. Yi Er couldn't be bothered with this pervert. She had to get a bamboo pole today, or else she would feel uncomfortable. What red packet? When Jiang Zhao saw Yi Er's face when she was acting, he felt that it was fun. Look, this little actress with good acting skills could really develop into the film and television industry. If that industry didn't have to film kissing scenes, hugging scenes, holding hands and touching faces, it was worth a try. Isn't today the wedding banquet that Grandpa prepared for us? I called Jingling, Xia Qian and Xiaoya. Zhengling offered to give me a big red packet, but Xiaoya said she would give me 200 yuan. Xia Qian was even more hateful. She didn't want to give me a single cent. She's too much. After Yi Er finished speaking, she stomped her feet again and pretended to be very angry for Jiang Zhao to see. Jiang Zhao knew that the main event was coming. He was waiting for her to serve the dishes. Then what do you want to do? I feel uncomfortable. What do you think I should do? Hubby, make it up to me, make it up to me. Jiang Zhao thought, honey, why don't you finish speaking? If you don't finish, it will be your husband's turn. Honey, look, my salary card is with you. I don't have a single cent. My company's dividend card is also with you. Your husband is so poor. Ye looked up and caught Jiang Zhao's despicable eyes. You're poor? You told me that day that you have too much money to spend. Yes, do you want to spend it all? Isn't my money your money? Yes. Ye understood a little. Her husband's money was her money. So, you want me to give you a red packet with the money that was originally your money? Ye shook her head. It's so troublesome. I have to go to the bank to deposit it. So, you still want to play your little trick? Ye shook her head. Looking at Jiang Zhao's shrewd eyes, she was disappointed. No, I can't outsmart you. Jiang Zhao sighed when he saw Ye's dejected look. He thought for a moment and immediately hugged his wife sneakily, saying, So, let's go ask someone for a red packet now and deposit it into our little treasury. What do you think? Ye's eyes lit up when she heard this. Thus, the bastard couple began to discuss how to extort a red packet. Jiang Zhao thought that it was not advisable to ask for a red packet, but his wife wanted to accept a red packet today, so he had to find a safe one. Otherwise something would happen. Thus he called Zhuang Yichen. In front of Ye's hopeful eyes he said, Yichen, Grandpa helped me and Yun Yi to make up for our wedding today. Ye actually invited Qiu Xiaoya. She even told me that you couldn't come and had to invite Sister Xiaoya. One of the two of you had to come. What do you think is going on? Is she so smart that she could tell that you two are a couple? Ye was very excited when she heard this. Wow, hubby, you are so sinister, so sinister. You actually schemed against Zhuang Yichen. Men love to save face, so they definitely won't lose face. Zhuang Yichen listened to the phone and felt that something was wrong. Jiang Zhao was not usually like this. Today it was too obvious. His tone was also not right. If he was not familiar with the other party's voice, he would definitely think that a group of scammers had come to scam him. But for it to be so obvious, there must be a reason, right? Brother Zhao, it's really inconvenient for me to attend your wedding. Just like Grandpa Qin's birthday, I could only send some crystal cups through Fian. How about this? I'll ask Xiaoya to bring a congratulatory gift over tonight. Congratulations on your marriage. Jiang Zhao looked at Yi and proudly shook his head, indicating that he had succeeded. Seeing Yi clapping her hands in excitement, Jiang Zhao's heart was blooming with flowers. He pretended to be awkward and said into the phone, How could I do that? Zhuang Yichen was also a smart person. He more or less guessed what was going on. He laughed loudly and said, If you say that I'm sorry again, your motive is too obvious. Haha, you know me best, Yichen. Yi hugged Jiang Zhao's arm and blinked her eyes as she asked, Hubby, how much will this bring in? I'm not sure. Last time at Grandpa's birthday, all the crystal cups that he prepared were about 1 million. Yi let out a big breath. Good Lord, this was a big deal. Isn't this gift too extravagant? That's not too good, right? Haha. Yi suddenly thought of something and sat up straight. She looked straight at Jiang Zhao and was a little frightened. Hubby, let's not accept his red packet. It's too big. It's so scary. If someone investigates in the future and your job is so sensitive, no, let's not accept it. Jiang Zhao tidied Yi's hair by her ear. It turned out that she was so worried about his future. It's okay. Qiu Xiaoya sent it over. It's not a big deal. Besides, I've never helped Qiu Xiaoya with anything. Besides, I've never accepted bribes. I don't care about money. It's just that you feel like receiving red packets. I'll give it to you to satisfy your craving. The next time Zhuang Yichen gets married, we'll just send it back. This is just a friendship. Yi nodded. She thought about what had happened at home a few days ago and Jiang Zhao's character. As long as she was obedient, Jiang Zhao would treat her very well. He would not care about her family and a bunch of burdens. He enjoyed the feeling of being looked up to by a woman. Suddenly she felt a little sad. Hubby, let me tell you. Dad used to be very good to Mom. Whatever Mom wanted, Dad would give her. But now Mom still treats him like this. She even made him so angry that he had a heart attack and almost lost his life. Don't listen to me all the time. You will spoil me. If you spoil me, I will become bad in the future. Jiang Zhao looked at Yi's bright eyes. Her almond-shaped eyes were not so round and were slightly flat. She looked sly, but the light in her eyes was not sly at all. She was very serious, as if she was talking about something very important. Don't worry. I won't listen to you. I'll control you tightly and not let you learn bad things. If you dare to learn bad things, I'll catch you back, tie you up, and forbid you from going out. Then I'll get rid of your bad habits bit by bit. Don't make it sound so scary. Don't make it sound so scary. It's so scary. Since you like to live in fear like this, I'll fulfill your wish. There were actually not many people at the banquet. Jiang Zhao had a lot of friends. Rather than calling them friends, it was better to call them partners. Even if he only invited one person, the entire building would soon know that he was inviting a guest. Of course, there would be no lack of red packets. Ye received so many that her hands went limp, but she still felt uneasy. Jiang Zhao said that it was fine. These were all legitimate. If there were too many, they could just return the favor. He was not afraid of these things. Ye was also not afraid when she was in a wealthy family. But she knew that Jiang Zhao was in the government and that there were some things that he should pay attention to. In the past, when she celebrated birthdays and New Year's, she did not feel anything when receiving red packets. But now her state of mind was completely different. It was this man who was too calm. Xia Qian got out of the car that Jiang Zhao had sent. When she got out of the car, the driver leaned against the car window and took deep breaths. Then he opened the car door and ran to a tree root to retch violently. The security guard at the door felt like vomiting when he saw this. Xia Qian carried a small craft paper food bag and asked the security guard, "Where can I find Yun Yi and Jiang Zhao?" The security guard looked at the craft paper bag in Xia Qian's hand and did not dare to cover his nose. After all, young Master Zhao had sent someone to pick her up. He did not dare to offend her. "Miss, wait a moment. I'll get someone to bring you over." Xia Qian was led all the way to the restaurant. When she saw Yi and Jiang Zhao coming over, she opened her backpack and took out a red packet and stuffed it into Yi hand. 1888. Keep it well. This is all of my savings. Luckily, my sister is usually generous to me. Otherwise, 188 is not a small amount. If you dare to think that it's too little, we'll break off our friendship. I made a bad friend. You want a red packet and you want me to bring delicious food. After saying this, she opened the craft paper bag and threw a piece of stinky tofu into her mouth. She smacked her lips and ate with relish. Yer was quite touched. Xia Qian had a sharp tongue. Her red packets were incomparable to those of Jiang Zhao's friends and those of Zheng Ling, who owned a photography studio. However, for a student like her, it was already a lot. She didn't have to accept the red packets, and she would give them back to Xia Qian when she had something to do in the future. However, the feeling was indescribable. But even if she was touched, she could not resist the smell of the stinky tofu. It was too much. Enemies were bound to meet on a narrow road. Xia Qian was a guest. No matter how smelly the stinky tofu was, no one would say anything about it. After all, educated people knew how to respect others, even on the surface. If it was any other time, Qin Fian would definitely endure it. After all, stinky tofu was also a type of food, and no one could stop anyone from eating it. However, this piece of cement was not pleasing to his eyes, and he was even invited here. Wasn't this a bit too unlucky? He exaggeratedly pinched his nose and began to vomit. It's too smelly. Then he looked at Xia Qian. Have you not bathed in a few years? Why are you so smelly? Xia Qian was an idiot, but she was not really an idiot. It was just that at first glance, her expression and the way she did things were very idiotic. It was Yi who asked her to bring her favorite food. She was an idiot and should not bring her favorite food at such an occasion. This was because although she worked in the media industry, all the stinky girls in her dormitory liked to eat stinky tofu. As long as the stall on the roadside started to sell oil, all the stinky girls in her dormitory would go and do a big job. Therefore, in her mind, stinky tofu was a good thing. It was a delicious thing. She had temporarily forgotten that stinky tofu had always been a taboo in such a prestigious and wealthy family. Later on, she also noticed everyone's expressions. However, since she had already come in, if she were to lose it, wouldn't it make her seem like she had no integrity? Was the food that rich people ate high-end food? Besides, her sister did not say anything. Although there was no need for Xia Qian to stand up for Yun Hongwei, Jiang Zhao knew that Xia Qian and Yi got along well. Xia Qian was also a guest invited by Yi. Regardless of the size of the red packet, it was still Yi's face. If Qin Fian gave Xia Qian any face now, then the one who would lose face would be Yi. If Yi lost face, it would be the same as losing face for Jiang Zhao. Fian, Miss Xia is a guest. Qin Fian pretended not to hear. Last time he was called a woman by this woman. Today he was called a Japanese. Faced with Qin Fian's ridicule and knowing that Jiang Zhao wanted to help her out, Xia Qian did not accept it. Brother Zhao, just eat properly and take good care of Yi. Xiaoye didn't take Xia Qian seriously at all. She even chatted with Yi as if Xia Qian wasn't her younger sister at all. She had the attitude of a little scattered immortal who would fend for herself if there was a war. However, Yi completely understood her attitude. She tugged at Jiang Zhao. Hubby, don't worry about them. Let's eat our food. I'm almost used to that smell. Welfare Xingwu 799. Chapter 544. Jianghu nodded. He couldn't do anything about it even if he wasn't used to it. At most he could ask Yi Er to make some supper for him at night. He wouldn't starve anyway. Xia Qian walked to Qin Fian's side and opened the craft paper bag in her hand. She used a thin bamboo stick to pick out a small piece of stinky tofu with some chili on it. She picked it up and placed it in front of Qin Fian. It's not that I haven't showered. I shower every day. If I don't shower I can't sleep. So the smell you're smelling naturally can't be my body fragrance. This is the delicious stinky tofu. Do you know now? Young Master Fian? Qin Fian wanted to vomit. The smell was even stronger. She still had the nerve to say that not showering for a long time was her body fragrance? What was face? Just as he was about to slap the stinky tofu in front of him away, the woman had already thrown the stinky tofu she picked up into her mouth and started eating happily. Heavens, such a smelly, disgusting thing, and she actually threw it into her mouth. Jiang Zhao looked at Qin Fian's distorted beautiful face and wanted to laugh. However, he felt that with so many colleagues around, if he laughed it would damage his image. But if he kept pretending to be serious on the outside, he almost suffered internal injuries from holding it in. Yi Er also felt that this kind of performance was too loving. To be able to see Qin Fian's beautiful face contort into all kinds of unexpected expressions, this was really a rare occurrence. Xiaoya said softly, Yi Er, let me tell you, you have to hold it in. There should be an even more exciting performance. Xiaoya had just finished speaking when Xia Qian suddenly threw the bag of skewers on the table. She lightly jumped and hugged Qin Fian's neck. While Qin Fian was unguarded, her small mouth forcefully pressed against his and started to nibble. This nibbling was really good. It wasn't like kissing, it was more like rubbing the tofu residue in her mouth onto Qin Fian's mouth. She was just wiping, but this woman's tongue still went into Qin Fian's mouth. Qin Fian was already dizzy from this disgusting feeling. He couldn't stand properly and fell backwards. The woman hugging his neck couldn't be pushed away. But that wasn't the point. The point was that she had eaten stinky tofu. Her mouth, that stinky tofu, was trying to pry open his mouth. Xia Qian used the power of the stinky tofu to press Qin Fian to the ground. She leaned on his body and kissed him. Qin Fian's face was full of saliva. Qin Fian was anxious. At this time it was useless even if he was strong. Before he could move, Xia Qian shouted, "A gentleman uses his mouth and not his fists. Why are you touching my breasts?" You. Qin Fian's face turned red. No. One more kiss, handsome. Xia Qian was an idiot. That was because she didn't treat Qin Fian as a man. She felt that kissing Qin Fian wasn't a loss. Because Qin Fian wasn't a man. They were like this now. At most they could be considered good sisters. Qin Fian felt very strange. What was going on today? No one came to pull him away. There was a reason why no one pulled him away. Old Master Qin stood up and gave everyone a look. No one was allowed to move. He laughed sinisterly in his heart. This girl wasn't bad. If she forced Fian, would she have a grandson to hug? So many people gathered here. It wasn't very convenient, right? But how should he say it to send these people away? Qin Rongfang glanced around. Everyone knew to lower their heads. Jiang Zhao also felt that this was an interesting show. Today's wedding banquet was too interesting. He didn't bring any equipment. When he turned around he saw Qiu Xiaoya sitting beside Yi Er taking a video with her phone. She wasn't the only one taking a video. Many people were doing the same. He glanced at Grandpa. He was just letting him do whatever he wanted. Alright, Grandpa must feel that Fian was being pressed to the ground by a girl covered in stinky tofu. Using a mouth covered in stinky tofu foam to bite Fian's mouth, it was better than Fian saying that he was gay, right? Could this be the legendary, when things reach an extreme they will move in the opposite direction? Xia Qian's looks were not bad. But with this kind of character, could she really satisfy Grandpa? Alright, Grandpa must now feel that as long as she was a woman she could move, she could give birth. Qin Fian had more or less gotten used to the stinky tofu's dizzying and breathless smell. He suddenly had strength. Anyway, the woman on top of him was a piece of cement. He didn't need to be gentlemanly. Today he threw all his gentleness to the heavens. But when he forcefully pulled away the woman's hand, the woman suddenly shouted, "Why, you have chest muscles." Everyone at the banquet table spat out their wine. Qin Fian couldn't control himself. His hand went limp. The woman hugged him tightly again. "You have chest muscles? I'll reward you with one." "Great. Come, kiss me again." "Moi." The salivating stinky tofu mouth bit him again. Get lost. Qin Fian was already angry from embarrassment. Why, you have abs. You're really a cute bottom. Wah. Xia Qian was a media worker. When she was in school, her teacher said that media workers not only had to have a sense of social responsibility and a rational mind, they also had to have a certain quality. That was, they had to be unafraid of wind, rain, hard work, and tiredness. In the end, they were just shamelessly looking for news. So when she faced a beautiful bottom like Qin Fian, her professionalism came up again. Qin Fian flipped over and pinned Xia Qian down. Good, this woman wasn't afraid of death. Because her hand was obviously red from his pulling, but she still refused to let go. She was obviously a vengeful woman who couldn't care less. Just as he was about to break his hand to get this woman further away, Xiaoya stood up with her phone. The camera was pointed at the two people on the ground. Her high heels walked elegantly and steadily. Yo, young Master Fian, are you going to hit a woman? Qin Fian turned his head. *CK. Unlucky day. What was this family trying to do today? Why were all the servants standing and watching? At this moment, he flipped over and saw that the people in the restaurant were all very gentlemanly. They were all sitting in their seats and watching him make a fool of himself. When he saw his grandfather's shining eyes, he suddenly understood. Good, this family was waiting to scheme against him. He lowered his head and leaned over to Yi Er's ear and said, I'm actually not afraid of men and women. There are too many people here. Why don't we find a quiet place to continue? Don't tell me you want to perform a live erotic scene in front of so many people? You don't say. Your breasts look pretty good. I'll take a good look later. Xia Qian almost vomited because of Qin Fian's not afraid of men and women. She immediately let go and squirmed out from under Qin Fian's body. She stood properly and tidied her hair. She looked around at everyone and laughed dryly. Haha, it's just a misunderstanding, a misunderstanding. Everyone, continue. Xiaoya turned off the camera and asked Xia Qian in a normal tone, how's his chest? He looks pretty skinny, but he often likes to show 3 buttons so you can see his chest muscles. His figure should be pretty good. How does it feel? Qin Fian got up from the ground with a dark face. He had never been like this in his life. He used to be a handsome man, but today he really became a stinky man. His face was full of stinky tofu smell. He originally wanted to get a brush to brush his face and mouth, but he heard the two women had already begun to talk about his body. Xia Qian sighed. Sai, it's just SOSO. Don't you know that you interact with models all day long? You can tell with one look that he has a good figure. His abdominal muscles are just SOSO. Bottoms are usually very weak, so it's normal that his abdominal muscles are not very developed. It's not a big deal. Xia Qian prayed in her heart. Buddha, I'm just kidding. His body is really good. His chest muscles feel so good. His abdominal muscles are like small squares. Wow, it's true. He's definitely a top, not a bottom. Don't blame me. Qin Fian swore to himself. Bitch, Xia Qian, your good days are over. After tonight's banquet, you're no longer a guest of sister-in-laws. I can torture you to death in any way I want. Yi Er listened to the conversation and felt that it was really interesting. It was a very interesting topic. On the other side, Jiang Zhao grunted. She turned her head and saw it. Hubby? Is he angry? When they got home that night, Jiang Zhao ordered that they were not allowed to play with Qiu, Xiaoya, Xia Qian and the others anymore. Yi Er jumped up. Why? Ever since the incident with Zheng Ling's mother, she did not dare to look for Zheng Ling. She was traumatized and was afraid that Zheng Ling's mother would not like her. If she went over, Zheng Ling's mother would scold Zheng Ling again. However, she felt that it was good to hang out with Xiaoya and Xia Qian. Xiaoya was a few years older, but she was also a very fun woman. Xia Qian was even more so. She was very happy to hang out with them. Why was she not allowed to play with them now? No reason. Anyway, we can't hang out together. Although Jiang Zhao felt that the drama was good, Xia Qian, Qiu and Xiaoya were too lecherous. There were so many people and they were openly talking about men's muscles. They even asked how it felt. They even noticed that they liked to loosen the 3 buttons. Could they still be called dignified women? Yi Er was not so open-minded. It was one thing to close the door and another to go out. After being with him for a long time, she would definitely be led astray. In the future, wouldn't she be staring at men's chest muscles on the streets? Jiang Zhao, there's no such person like you. You've gone overboard. Back then you asked me to get in touch with Xia Qian and hook up with them. Now you're not allowing me to do so. Jiang Zhao felt that this was a serious topic. His face darkened as he reprimanded her. Back then you didn't marry me. Now that you're married to me, Everyone in Haiqing knows that I, Jiang Zhao, will definitely get my father-in-law out. There's no need for Xia Qian anymore. Since there's no need for her, you're not allowed to hang out with them anymore. You're always fooling around all day long. You even find it interesting. Then what's interesting? What did they do to you? In his heart, Jiang Zhao had always treated Yi Er as a little girl. Especially after what she said at night, he was a little worried that she would be led astray. She was already very bad. She dared to drug men, take erotic photos, work at a nightclub, and even bribe a high-ranking official with sex. What else did she not dare to do? Fortunately, he was the only one she met from the beginning to the end. He was the one who saved her. But what if she was led astray by some indecent woman? Jiang Zhao tugged at the tie around his neck. After pulling it open, he threw it on the bed, took off his shirt, and walked towards the bathroom. Yunyi, remember, the wife is the husband. Yi Er looked at Jiang Zhao, who was so arrogant, with his head held high and his chest puffed out. When he said those words confidently and leisurely walked towards the bathroom with his long legs, she wanted to transform into a beautiful female warrior and kill him. Forget it, if she killed him she would lose her husband. Hongcha 866. Chapter 545. Wife as husband? She had to listen to him? She didn't want to, but she was under his roof. The phone rang and the screen lit up. It was a call from Xia Qian. Did Xia Qian sneeze? She picked up. Hello, Qian Qian. Hello, Yi Er. Are you asleep? Yi Er felt that something was wrong. When did Xia Qian, that idiot, speak so gently and politely? She had never been like this since they first met. No, I'm just about to sleep. Why aren't you going to sleep? Are you going to skip class again tomorrow? Don't think you're so great just because you have a rich sister. You still won't be able to graduate. Let me tell you. Xia Qian's voice on the other end of the phone was rare and serious. She did not argue with Yi Er like she usually did. I just reached the dormitory and was about to sleep. Yi Er, I'm really sorry. Today was supposed to be your wedding banquet. As a friend, I should only give you my blessings, but in the end, it ended up like this. I was a little impulsive at the time. I have some grudges with that young Master Fian of your family, so I couldn't hold back. Xia Qian hesitated for a moment before continuing. I didn't think much of it at that time, but I kept thinking about it on the way back. I felt that I shouldn't have done that. I only cared about my own comfort and didn't care about the fact that you guys were the main characters today. I'm your friend and I only embarrassed you a little. My sister also scolded me, but my sister would definitely only defend me outside. She would never say that I was wrong in front of others, but when she sent me back to the dormitory she didn't stop scolding me. I think I should apologize to you for this. Forgive me, I'll give you a big red packet during your anniversary celebration. Pouted and was so touched that she squinted her eyes. The pretentious feeling in her heart made her feel a little awkward. In her mind, Xia Qian was an idiot and was not much better than her. Moreover, she had always thought that she had more experience than Xia Qian when it came to matters of how to behave. She also thought that she had more experience than Xia Qian and had a deeper understanding of how to behave. But she was wrong. Xia Qian was not a pure retard. She always seemed to have a fierce temper. She also knew how to analyze herself and recognize herself. She never thought that Xia Qian would apologize to her for this matter. In fact, she did not take it to heart. Could it be that Jiang Zhao felt embarrassed because of Xia Qian's behavior today? But it was better not to mess with Jiang Zhao. Anyway, she had forgiven Xia Qian. She liked to be friends with people like him. Jiang Zhao was so busy. He wouldn't know if she went out with Xia Qian and the others. Qian, what are you talking about? We're such good friends, why would I mind? Besides, it's so lively today, really lively. I think this kind of wedding banquet is very interesting, really. Yi Er, are you trying to comfort me? Anyway, I'll be more careful next time. Yi Er sat cross-legged on the round carpet on the floor. She tilted her head and held the phone. She took out a manicure and polished her nails. Don't worry. Go to sleep. If you fail a course or have to retake it because of poor attendance, I'll definitely laugh at you. Hey, let me tell you, in novels the husband is always slept with by his good friend. You have to be careful. I'm very interested in Jiang Zhao. I think I'm more suited to be with him. He's handsome, has a good figure, doesn't have any scandals, and has such a rich family background. As a senior official, everyone wants to suck up to him. Hey, evil woman, if you curse me to retake it, I'll definitely snatch your man away without mercy. Yi Er thought about how Jiang Zhao liked women like Ouyang Yen and couldn't help but sigh. However, she didn't want her friend to hear her displeasure, so she smiled and said, "Don't worry, my husband will definitely not like you and he won't even look at you. Look at you, do you look like a woman? People say that women are made of water and men are made of mud. You're really—" Xia Qian laughed and finished Ye's words. "Made of cement, right? Haha, that guy Qin Fian actually said that I'm made of cement. That piece of plasticine is a little bottom, haha. Otherwise I would have flirted with him." Ye said, "Stop daydreaming. Hurry up and go to sleep. Even if such a beautiful man isn't gay, he's not compatible with you. If he stands next to you, you'll be too ashamed to show your face. Where will you find the confidence to be a reporter and a host? Don't. People in the media have to be confident. Don't worry, if I'm really given such a beautiful man, I'll definitely be able to make him obedient. I won't brag or daydream anymore. I'm going to sleep. Good night. Good night." After Jiang Zhao came out, he once again mentioned that he wasn't allowed to play with Xia Qian, Qiu and Xiaoya. Ye responded and said okay. Anyway, the best way to avoid a war was to have one side argue for what was right and the other side compromise at the right time. And the one who was emotionally weak was the one who should compromise. Ye felt that she was the one who should compromise. Yun Hongwei's health had recovered. However, Yun Hongwei was still on parole for medical treatment, so he had to be careful of his influence. As he spent more time at home, Jiang Zhao hired a part-time worker to take care of the 3 meals a day and clean the house. He didn't stay at home at night. This way Ye wouldn't have to worry about Yun Hongwei's daily life. Actually, Jiang Zhao didn't really like hiring a part-time worker to cook. He was fine with cleaning the house because Ye's cooking was very delicious. However, it was better if he was alone. Now that so many people were living together, he didn't want his wife to be like a nanny. That kind of feeling was very strange. Under Jiang Zhao's arrangement, Ye went to cram school to prepare for the college entrance examination next year. Since she was still young, studying was the best thing for her to do. The late autumn morning was beautiful because of the warmth of the sun. Zhao, I realize that I'm not used to school. No, you have to get used to it even if you're not used to it. You just don't like me. She knew that Ouyang Yan had a double master's degree. Well, then why don't you go even though you know? Can't you not dislike me? I can't. Why can't you? That wasn't how soap operas were written. Because you're uncultured. It's very scary. They were talking about this again. This was the same answer as last time. This time it was the same answer. How am I scary? I'm so cute, so sensible, so gentle, so considerate, so virtuous. Ye wanted to continue speaking proudly, but she felt that the atmosphere was a little strange. There was no sound at all, not even a snicker. It was very strange. Hence, she looked at Jiang Zhao's half-smile. He's mocking her. He's mocking her. Go and *CK him. He actually dared to mock her? Ye stretched her shoulders and raised her eyebrows slightly. She looked out the window from the corner of her eyes. Outside the window was a sea of yellow and orange. One day her flowers would bloom and bear fruit. She raised her chin confidently and turned back to look at the tall Jiang Zhao. She said shamelessly, I'm so pretty, so beautiful, so dignified and so intellectual. How can I be scary? This person only exists in the heavens and is describing me. Don't you know how to appreciate me? Jiang Zhao was already dressed and ready to go to work. He was standing by the bed to talk to Ye about school and Ye helping him fix his suit. In the end, because of her behavior, he couldn't bear to leave the house. Yunyi, how can you continue to call yourself Yunyi? That name is as soft as cotton candy. Is it really suitable for you? Are you sure? Is there anything that I'm not sure about? When I dance, I'm like a cloud in the sky. It's light and beautiful. Ye decided to fight to the end. She was determined not to say that she was bad in front of her husband. She had to show him her good side. She was better than Ouyang Yan in many aspects. Her looks were inferior, her personality was inferior, her family background was inferior, and her education level was inferior. However, she could dance. She could dance many kinds of dances and had even won awards. Could Ouyang Yan know how to dance? Then why don't you dance for me tonight? Sure. Is there a reward? Reward? Of course there is. I've never been a stingy man. Okay. One reward. You go down and I'll go up. Your sister. Ye was excited and wanted to ask for a reward. For example, the two of them could go somewhere romantic and make up for their honeymoon. However, before she could say anything, she saw Jiang Zhao's perverted look appear again. She reached out and pushed Jiang Zhao downstairs. Hurry up and leave. Hurry up and leave. I don't want to see you at all. Jianghu was pushed all the way down the stairs. When they reached the door, he couldn't help but laugh when he thought of Yi Er's changing expressions. He changed his shoes and bluffed, "Haha, okay. Then I'll go on a business trip for a month." Yi Er's expression changed. She immediately took Jianghu's briefcase with both hands and handed it to him. She poured it into his arms and said sweetly, "Hubby, come home early for dinner tonight. I'll cook something delicious for you today. I don't think you're used to Andy's cooking." Jianghu looked down. At this moment he deliberately held back his laughter. "But you said you didn't want to see me." Yi Er looked up at the man and retorted, "What? When did I say that?" Jianghu looked confused. "Just now you told me to leave. You said you didn't want to see me at all." Yi Er stomped her foot and slapped Jianghu's chest. She said in a resentful tone, "Nonsense. Hubby, let me tell you. You're a man. Don't slander me like this. You need evidence to back up your words. Do you have any evidence? She even said she would cook something delicious for you. How could you say that? It's so hurtful." "Evidence?" Jianghu pursed his lips. "You're trying to make a false accusation." No. I just want to kiss my hubby." Yi Er tiptoed lightly and reached out to grab the collar of the man's suit. Her sharp mouth touched the man's lips. Mwah. She let go of the kiss very sweetly. Her slightly flat almond-shaped eyes curved into crescents. "Hubby, come back early. I'll go to the tutoring place today. I'll come back early to cook for you. I wish my hubby a happy job." After standing still, she walked to the door and pressed the handle of the door. She pushed the door open and leaned against the side of the door. She bent over and raised her hand to send him off. "Hubby, take care." This building was a floating villa. There was one unit on each floor. The elevator was about 10 steps away from the door. The front was very spacious. "You're so naughty." The man's leather shoes stepped out of the wooden house and stepped on the thick blue footpad at the door. He turned his foot gently out of habit. "You're always so naughty. How are you going to grow up?" There was a gentle reprimand in his tone, but the corners of his mouth curved into a charming smile. Yi Er looked at the man who was lifting his sleeve to look at his watch. When he finished looking at the time, he turned to look at her. There were large windows on both sides of the corridor from the door to the elevator. There was plenty of light. Awesome novel. Hongcha 866. Chapter 546. The floor leading to the elevator was cold marble, but the late autumn sun was so warm that it dyed the corners of the man's mouth. Yi Er's eyes, which had been curved into a crescent moon, slowly relaxed. Her smile weakened, and when she gazed at the man, she felt her eyes becoming a little misty. She gently swallowed her saliva and shyly tugged at the corner of the man's shirt. Very seriously, she tried to make herself more gentle. "Hubby, I really made the dishes you like to eat. Come back early." He only felt a very soft part of his heart. When he looked into the woman's eyes, it was as if there was a very heavy rubber substance that hit him hard without his consent. Jianghu's heart suddenly shrank and tightened. He reached out and touched the woman's bun of hair on top of her head. Although his words were still not sweet, there was no reprimand in his voice, there was a kind of stretching tolerance. "Haha, when did you become like this? When Dad comes back from his morning exercise and sees you like this, he'll be scared out of his wits." Yi Er playfully wrinkled her nose. "I'm not going to talk nonsense with you anymore. Go to work. Hubby has to earn money to support the family, to support me. If hubby doesn't earn money, I won't have food to eat." "Haha, okay. I'm going. For my wife's 3 meals a day, I have to work like a cow or a horse." He lowered his head and kissed the tip of the woman's nose. Then he turned around and strode over to the elevator. Yi Er stood at the entrance of the elevator and watched the red numbers slowly decrease. In the end, it stopped at the first floor. From time to time, there would be a buzz in her ears, followed by the man's laughter. The laughter when he was in a good mood. She always felt that Jianghu's laughter, especially when he wasn't so serious, was always charming. Even the laughter that burst out from his chest was charming, and it had a kind of impulse that made people want to hold on tightly to it. That sound could always ring in her ears at many times and many places. When she heard it, the tip of her heart would soften. It was as if, other than those sounds, she couldn't bear any weight. She was afraid that something would suddenly barge in and ruin the beautiful atmosphere. Sometimes people were very strange. The things you wanted to protect were clearly very simple, such as a kind of happy laughter. But even though it was so simple, it was so difficult to protect it. You want to play with him without any precaution and throw a tantrum. You know that he's just a male chauvinist. He just wants the woman by his side, Guy, to be obedient. As long as you're obedient, playful and have a tantrum, he'll indulge you. However, when he indulged you, he would not be able to control his own strength and would always exceed that limit. For example, just now, she said that she did not want to see him anymore. Just like those main characters in soap operas, they said, "I don't want to see you anymore. Go away and never come back." Just like that, they did not mean what they said. However, because he said that he would be on a business trip for a month, she was so scared that she didn't dare to continue being unreasonable. She wanted to be able to control herself and please him. She was not afraid that he would go on a business trip. She was afraid that he would go to the apartment in the north of the city. The world was fair. If you're willing to gamble, you have to accept defeat. She felt that her personality was like that. Since she was gambling, she could not be afraid of not being able to afford to lose. At worst, she would end up in a mess. At worst, she would end up heartbroken. She would not be like those people on television who would slit their wrists and die. She would not die. At worst, she would end up like that, heartbroken. Jianghu said that one had to be forward-looking when doing things. As long as one saw the right thing, one had to set one's sights on the long term. Then one could let go of one's hands and feet, throw away all burdens, settle everything boldly and decisively, and kill one's way towards that goal. She was not that confident. She felt that since she was gambling, although the purpose of gambling was to win, she also had to consider the possibility of losing. She knew that at most she would be hurt by him. She could afford to lose. Sometimes, when you miss someone, you just need to close your eyes and listen to the sound of the wind. In the wind there would definitely be his voice. She felt that she was not an ordinary lover. He had just arrived at the garage, right? She missed him again. When Yi Er went out, she greeted Yun Hongwei and went to the underground garage. She liked the Wrangler. For a girl of her height, it was the best car to drive. She had just pressed the lock on the car and then closed it again. She felt that it was not good. She wanted to go to the school to take a look. Although it could not compare to a Lamborghini, an off-road vehicle was already more eye-catching than a normal car. She did not want to attract too much attention. Other than the 2 million plus A8 in the garage, there was only a 7 million plus sports car in the garage. She knew that there was another car in the north of the city driven by the Ouyang Yen. She reminded herself not to keep thinking about the Ouyang Yen. As long as she was not caught in bed, she would not take these things seriously. She would just treat it as if she was lying to herself. She walked out of the garage and was about to call a taxi when she called Xia Qian. Qian, I want to go to your university. Did you go to practice outside today? If you're at school, we can have lunch together. Ye heard some noise on the other end of the line. Xia Qian's voice sounded like she was shouting. Ah, Ye, your voice is too soft. I can't hear you clearly. Say that again. Yi raised her voice again and repeated herself. The 9th mansion was a typical building for the wealthy. It was the morning rush hour and many people were coming out. Some people looked at Yi and nodded gently with a smile as a greeting. The 9th mansion was not very big. There were not many people living there. Many people who appeared on the cover of the financial news and many rich second-generation heirs chose to live there. Yi smiled awkwardly. Others did not know her before, but now they knew that she was Jianghu's wife. She did not care about her image and shouted loudly. Sigh. It was not easy to be the wife of a high official. Xia Qian finally heard her clearly. You want to go to our university? Do you really want to go back to university? Sure. There are many colleges in our university that are holding classes for high school students. Which college did you choose? What major are you majoring in? Hey, I bought a new car. Let me tell you, I'm near the 9th mansion. Wait for me, I'll come and pick you up. When Yi heard Xia Qian's excited voice, especially when she mentioned a new car, she felt like her tail was wagging to the sky. She bought a car? This girl was still a student and said that a bag of 1,888 yuan was all she had. Now she bought a car? Oh, the car had to be booked in advance. She probably paid the money in advance before she picked up the car. She must be trying to take advantage of Xiaoya again. Sure, I was just about to call a cab. I'll wait for you at the west gate. Take your time, there's no rush. After hanging up the phone, Yi continued to walk forward in her high heels. Her slim pants were pulled up to her long and straight legs. Her double-breasted beige windbreaker was unbuttoned, revealing the white chiffon underneath. The low-key color made her look even more elegant. A car stopped beside her. Yi Jejia. Ching Su rolled down the car window and waved at Yi. Her voice was like an apple with silk on the skin. When she took a bite, the crisp sound of the apple crunching could be heard. The sweet and sticky juice stained the corners of her mouth. Ye never expected to bump into Min Zikai here. Min Zikai was not married and still lived with family. Min Ye knew the girl in the back seat who greeted her warmly. It was Qing Su Lu. She had returned to family Min for a few years and was only willing to take her late mother's surname. She was determined not to change her surname. Lu, Ye knew that Qing Su liked the surname Lu. Qing Su said that she missed her mother and introduced herself as Qing Su. Ye waved at Qing Su and bent down to look at the driver's seat. The driver was Min Zikai. Look at this seat. She was clearly his younger sister, but she did not sit in the front passenger seat. She insisted on sitting in the back seat. Ye Jejia, where are you going? I'll send you. Qing Su's face still had some baby fat. She was very cute. When she smiled, her face was like a pear. It was so sweet that one could not help but want to take a bite. Haha. Ye felt that she was the wife of a governor now and could not be too disgraceful. She had to maintain her image. Lulu, there's no need. I have a friend coming to pick me up. Do you live here? Yes, I live here. We're neighbors. You can come to my house to play someday. Sure. Ye said politely, but in her heart she thought, I don't dare to go. That man in my house is a state official, and I'm a citizen. The difference in status is very clear. If you're not Min Zikai's younger sister, I can consider it. Min Zikai could not help but want to interrupt. At this moment his neck was about to break. Ye, which block do you live in? Qing Su rolled her eyes at Min Zikai. She turned her head and waved at Ye. Ye Jejia, come here. Ye could only lower her head. Qing Su took out a pen from her checkered Chanel bag. She leaned against Ye's ear and said, don't tell him which block you live in. This guy is definitely up to no good. I'll give you my cell phone number. Give me a call later. I'll give you something good next time. Without waiting for Ye to agree, Qing Su pulled Ye's hand and began to write numbers. As she wrote numbers, she smiled and said, the happiest thing for me now is that you're not my sister-in-law. Just as she finished writing the number, Ye went, pfft. Min Zikai choked on his anger. He turned his head and shouted sternly, Qing Su. What are you calling me? Qing Su's enthusiasm for Ye was gone. Her eyes were full of disdain and her tone was extremely harsh. Drive your car. Ye Jejia, remember? Qing Su made a phone call gesture and put it to the side of her face. Ye said, aha. She stood up straight and lowered her head. She waved her hand and said politely, goodbye. Qing Su slapped the back of the driver's seat and said fiercely, drive. Min Zikai felt a little embarrassed. After all, Ye was here. He gritted his teeth and said, Qing Su Jejia, be careful or I'll teach you a lesson. Teach me a lesson if you dare. Be careful or I'll complain to your dad. Let's see who'll teach who a lesson first. Min Zikai looked at Ye from the rearview mirror and gripped the steering wheel even tighter. She used to like wearing suspenders, hot pants and brightly colored clothes. Now that she was Jiang Zhao's woman, she could actually stand there so steadily. She didn't look like a girl who wasn't even 20 years old. He felt another slap on the back. He stepped on the accelerator and suddenly stepped on the brake. He turned around and said, little bastard. Qing Su lost her balance and almost hit her head on the back of the front seat. She supported herself on the back of the seat and fastened her seatbelt. She was a little frightened and said, Min Zikai, you're the bastard. Get lost if you don't know how to drive. Min Zikai had already stepped on the brake. At this moment he was suppressing a ball of fire in his heart. He reached out to open the door and get out of the car. Qing Su snorted softly and said, if you don't behave as my driver today, I'll tell your dad what you've done when we get back. Don't think that your mother can protect you. Your dad will still break your legs. Awesome novel Hongcha 866. Chapter 547. Muffled Zikai clenched his fists. He wanted to reach into the back seat and strangle this wretched girl. Especially when he saw her arrogant and disdainful eyes, he wanted to throw her into the sea to feed the sharks. Ye waited at the west gate and checked the time on her phone from time to time. The Xia Qian was really unreliable. She said she was near the 9th mansion and had been waiting for almost an hour. She even had the nerve to say that she was in the media and that she would snatch the news to be a news anchor in the future. A silver car slowly drove over in front of them. She passed the car and continued to look into the distance. She glanced at the car driving towards her from time to time. She didn't want to look, she just looked into the distance. But silver? Car plate A4646 ***? Xia Chen, you idiot. She said she bought a new car and promised to give you an extraordinary experience and high-end enjoyment. Damn. It's so high-end. It's a regular model. Is this a new car? Xia Chen had a pile of boxes in the front passenger seat. Ye sat in the back seat. Chen, your car? 20,000. What do you think? I bought it secondhand. My sister gave me 200,000 and asked me to buy a Volkswagen car. I thought it was a waste of money. It's not easy to make money these days, so I saved 180,000 and deposited it in my bank account for my sister. Ye snorted. Do you think your sister's meat buns have a chance to be deposited in her own bank account? You're the dog. The weather at the end of autumn was cool, so the windows were open. Xia Qian didn't turn on the air conditioner. But after Xia Qian put the car in gear with difficulty, she raised her hand and wiped the sweat on her forehead with her sleeve. Ye's heart skipped a beat. She quickly fastened her seat belt and reached out to grab the handle of the roof. Qian, let me drive. I know how to drive a manual transmission car. Xia Qian's palms were sweaty. She flexed her fingers as she held the steering wheel. She continued to hold it and looked ahead, concentrating. The clutch beneath his feet slowly loosened a little, and he stepped on the accelerator. When the car started driving, it started to move forward slowly. Yunyi, aren't you looking down on me? Although it's my first day on the road, I still got my driver's license properly. I didn't ask anyone to take the test for me. The car suddenly turned off. Xia Qian laughed dryly and started the car again. She continued to drive and said embarrassedly, I'm sorry. I was a little nervous and put my foot in the wrong place. It's fine. I'll get used to it soon. *CK misplaced? Don't misplace the brakes and the accelerator. Yer wanted to run for his life. Xia Qian. I want to get off. When Jiang Zhao arrived at the office, Qin Fian was already waiting for him. He sat lazily on the sofa and waved at Jiang Zhao. Lu Qing followed behind Jiang Zhao and took some files. The meeting will begin in 10 minutes. Jiang Zhao strode towards his seat and nodded. All right, prepare the materials that should be prepared. It's ready. Then wait for me outside for a while. After Jiang Zhao finished speaking, he sat down and opened the left drawer. He turned on the computer and took out his work notes. While waiting for the computer to turn on, he took out a pen and flipped open the work notes and quickly wrote down some things. Lu Qing left. Qin Fian stood up. Seeing Jiang Zhao talking and doing things, he knew that he must be very busy. Brother, when will your meeting end? Not long. I just need to pass down some things. It's equivalent to sending down some spirit from the top. It'll be quick. See, you like to do such formalism. Fei Yin curled his lips. I'll wait for you. And is there something? Yes, I want to take you to see the land at 326. Although the subway doesn't pass through there, I found that the terrain there is soft and there is a lot of underground water. The surrounding area is also empty. We can buy it and build a resort hotel. With running water, isn't that good? Why don't I spread the news that the subway has changed its route and that the land is not valuable anymore? I can buy it cheaply. Jiang Zhao's computer was already running. He touched the PowerPoint document and opened it. On the screen was a bird's eye view of Haiqing. He looked at the contents of the work notes while typing quickly on the keyboard. He did not raise his head to look at anyone. Fei Yin, is there any land you don't want to eat? Let's go take a look. Okay. Wait for me here. Okay. When we go over, let's take Minxing Road. I'll go there to buy some things. Okay. Yi did not drive. She was sweating more than Xia Qian and wanted to jump out of the car. People said that the scariest thing when driving on the road was to meet a female driver. It was her first time on the road. Wasn't Xia Qian a female driver? Moreover, this devil refused to let her drive no matter what. He even said that he wanted to practice his driving skills. Oh, practice? Was she using her life to practice with her? Xia Qian changed to another road. Take Minxing Road. Minxing Road is not blocked now. Let's practice there, okay? Okay. Anyway, I have nothing to do today. I just want to practice driving. Yi finally could not help but shout, You want to practice driving? I have something to do at the university. Okay. Shouldn't friends keep each other company when you're lonely? So petty. After dealing with her, she raised her voice and said proudly, Okay, Mississippi, sit tight. Next stop, Minxing Road. Please fasten your seatbelt. Yi grabbed the seatbelt with both hands. First gear. First gear only. Yi, did you forget what I said? I told you not to play with Xia Qian. If you want to die, go ahead and fulfill your wish. Don't drag me down. You know that I have parents and children to take care of. I haven't even had my honeymoon with my husband. I'm not even 20 years old. I'm not as old as you. Let me go and live for another 2 years. Xia Qian was not used to looking at the rearview mirror while driving. Suddenly there was a loud honk from behind. A car rushed up. The driver rolled down the window and scolded, "Do you King know how to drive?" Xia Qian shook her head and retorted, "I have a driver's license. What the CK can you do?" The driver scolded angrily, 13 o'clock. Xia Qian stuck her head out and wanted to scold that person. She didn't have the ability to divert her attention to driving. As long as she turned her head, the steering wheel would tilt. Ye was really anxious. Driving was a matter of life and death. She leaned behind Xia Qian's seat and reached out to straighten her head. She was going crazy. You're not allowed to scold him. Do you know how one of the 10 most beautiful men in China's history, Wei Jia, died? CK, it's because he's too handsome that people look at him to death. Let me tell you, if you keep looking at that ugly man, you won't be able to look at him to death. You're going to look at me to death. I already said that I'm not interested in your King wish. Xia Qian thought about it and decided not to vent her anger. As she drove, she said indifferently, "Who has King wish?" Ye said, "You still say that you don't have King wish? Isn't your license plate A4646** just King wish? If you have such a noble dream, don't drag me into it. Pull over. I'm a common person. I feel that a bad life is better than a good death." She looked down the aisle. "No, once you get out of the car, I'll die of loneliness." "Who told you to change gears? Who told you to change gears?" "First gear." Ye saw Xia Qian step on the clutch and change gears and immediately stopped her. CK Yunyi, are you still my friend? Even if it's a normal city, you can still drive third gear. You even told me to drive first gear. Let me tell you, I can't afford to lose face like this. When I was in driving school, I could even change gears. You actually didn't let me change gears. Ye continued to go crazy. If you want to change gears, wait until I get out of the car. You dare to change gears. You're not allowed to change gears now. You're not allowed to change gears. We're done. Xia Qian wanted to show off her car addiction. How could she show off now? She could only drive first gear. Show off my ass. Okay, we're done. I agree. From now on, you drive your open road and I'll drive my sidewalk. Our paths are different. We can't make plans together. Ye sat back down beside the car door. Stop the car. I want to get out. In your dreams. Xia Qian immediately changed gears and the car sped up. I promised you to drive on Minxing Road and you still want to abandon me. You disloyal TC. I want to be with you in life. Even if I die, I'll be with you. After saying that, she laughed maniacally. Ye knew there was no hope. Getting out of the car was a dream. This woman wouldn't stop the car. Forget it, they were almost at Minxing Road. This road was new and there weren't many people or cars. He should be more at ease. Besides, second gear wasn't too bad. But just as he was thinking, Xia Qian stepped on the clutch again and quickly changed gears to third gear. Actually, third gear wasn't considered fast, but he was sitting in this demoness car. Bang. Okay. Ye's head was leaning against the window glass and he was still holding onto the handle. Xia Qian's sudden braking caused Ye's head to hit the car door frame. This second-hand car's interior wasn't smooth. It wasn't covered with real leather and was very hard. Immediately, some warm and moist liquid flowed down from his forehead. Just as he was about to scream, Xia Qian, who had just escaped death after hitting her head on the steering wheel, arrogantly pulled open the door and got out. Ye felt that his injury wasn't serious. Now that Xia Qian had gotten out of the car, he had to help. He covered his forehead and prepared to open the car door to cheer Xia Qian on. As long as no one died, he should still be friends. But just as his feet touched the ground, he saw a familiar car opposite him. That's not right. The person who got out of the car was also familiar. Was very familiar. It was Qin Fian. He covered his forehead with his hand and held it in front of his face. God. He quickly pulled his hand back. If Qin Fian saw that she was injured and bleeding, Jiang Zhao would definitely know. Jiang Zhao had said that he wasn't allowed to play with Xiaoya and Xia Qian. If Qin Fian told the truth, she would definitely be skinned alive by Jiang Zhao. Chen Qian, forgive me. I'm a coward. And we're all acquaintances. Fian won't do anything to you. After thinking about it, he quietly closed the car door and hid his head like a turtle. Qin Fian's spectacles were on the bridge of his nose. He looked very refined. Xia Qian watched as the man walked over. He was so flirtatious. Although it wasn't too cold and most men were still wearing shirts and suits, this man was so flirtatious that he had 3 buttons on his shirt unbuttoned. A white shirt and a pearl pink suit. He was 2F** king flirtatious. He was obviously a flirtatious man, but he had to wear spectacles to pretend to be refined. This little bottom was really tempting. Xia Qian suddenly became interested in the top behind this little bottom. His taste was really good. It was such an ecstasy to get such a beautiful bottom. Qin Fian didn't want to get out of the car at first. There was a driver. But when he saw the familiar car owner get out of the car aggressively, he suddenly had the determination to teach her a lesson. Once the wedding banquet was over, he wouldn't have to give her face anymore. Beauty novel Hongcha 866. Chapter 548. Looking at Xia Qian's increasingly wretched expression, he could vaguely guess what she was thinking. This was because every time she mentioned something about top and bottom, she would have such an expression. He lifted his collar and went around to the hood of his car. He sat on the hood and crossed his long legs leisurely. "Miss Cement, you hit my car." Xia Qian pursed her lips lazily. "Ha, Mr. Little Show, you were the one who hit my car first. Your car was swaying. You hit it first, Miss Cement." "Mr. Little Show, your car is obviously too wide and too big. You hit me because you were standing on too many roads. This road is not delineated and I did not violate any traffic rules. How can you say that I hit your car?" Qin Fian did not mind using his power to pressure people. He had always felt that he was the scum of the rich third generation. He rarely pretended to be kind and magnanimous outside. Most of the time, he ignored the Qin family's teachings to keep a low profile. "No matter what traffic rules you broke today, you have to pay me back today." Xia Qian looked at Qin Fian's car. "Wow, how much did a piece of paint cost?" No, she was determined not to pay. "You have to pay me back." "Sure, we'll get someone to appraise it. I'll pay you back for the paint and you'll pay me back for the paint." Qin Fian slanted his lips and whistled. "Miss Cement, you have to pay me back today no matter what. Otherwise, if the director of the Transportation Bureau comes, you won't just pay me back today." Yes, that's right. He was like this. He liked to show off. To show off that he had a lot of connections and could easily crush a girl from a small media school. But compared to those rich second generations who blindly showed off, he was much more cultured. Keeping a low profile was the main thing and showing off was the secondary. Jianghu was sitting in Qin Fian's car. When he saw Xia Qian get out of the car, he called out to Qin Fian. They all knew each other. However, Qin Fian said, "Brother, just let me off this time. Just sit in the car and don't come out. You're doing me a favor. If you get involved, you'll make things difficult for me and sister-in-law." He had promised Qin Fian that he would sit in the car. Unlike other ordinary cars, he could roughly see the people inside the high-end car. When people outside looked into the window, they could only see their own reflections, but when he leaned back and looked out the window, he could see everything that was happening outside. He had seen Yi Er's shoes the moment they touched the floor. He had bought them for her. He liked to buy her dark colors. First of all, he didn't really like the bold colors and styles, even though she looked good in them. Second of all, he knew that he was being selfish. He was older than her by a whole 10 years. Because of work, it was impossible for him to be like Fei Yan, who was bright and beautiful all day long. His work environment had to be composed of clothes with colors as the main theme. It was all the same, and the one that could change the most was his tie. If he made her look bright and sunny while he himself wore heavy clothes, how could they be compatible? She used to say that he was an old cow eating young grass, but he would never admit it. Since he couldn't be flamboyant, then he would make her look like a mature autumn. Actually, buying things for her was very troublesome. Those women's things were really dazzling. He thought that she would look good in anything. 2 pairs of black high heels were placed there. He clearly wanted to choose a normal pair, but in the end he still chose the pair with the crocodile print. Like her, she had a wild nature in her bones. Actually, he liked that wild nature of hers. There were only 3 pairs of that pair of shoes in Haicheng. It wasn't too cold in this season and she didn't like to wear stockings. Today's pants were slim. The moment her feet touched the floor, he saw the tattoo on her bare feet. He had asked her what it was and she said it was a Persian chrysanthemum. She liked it. The moment her feet touched the floor, she immediately retracted them. Was she trying to hide? Could she hide? He took out his phone. Out of habit, he just wanted to make a call. But when he saw that the driver was still sitting there, he lightly smacked his lips and leaned back in his chair to make himself look more nonchalant. He searched for Yi Er's number, clicked on the envelope icon and started to write a message. Are you itching for a beating? His finger hesitated for a moment. His thick and long eyelashes lowered over his eyes for a moment. He opened his eyes again and glanced at the driver in the front. He lowered his head to look at the phone screen. His face was gloomy, but the content of the message was, "Good wife, what are you doing? Did you miss me?" When he sent this message, he shuddered. Goosebumps appeared all over his body like bamboo shoots after a rain. It was too disgusting. In the room, on the bed, he had whispered to her. That kind of feeling was completely different from what he was feeling now. This was the first time he had sent such a disgusting message. The message was sent successfully. Jianghu looked at his hand that was holding the phone in disgust. With his other hand he slapped it with a pia sound. He despised his own bad behavior and scolded himself in his heart. Who told you to be cheap? Who told you to be disgusting? Who told you to be mushy? When Yer took out a tissue from her bag to wipe off the blood on her forehead, her phone rang with a ding-dong. As she foolishly used tissues to wipe the wound on her forehead, she took out her phone. Her hands were covered in blood. Her bag and phone were red from all the rubbing, but she wasn't very afraid. It was the outside world that was scary. The last time Jianghu had a nosebleed, she was scared to death. She didn't know that bleeding could be so peaceful. She swiped the screen and looked at the message. The corners of her mouth twitched and her heart flew to the sky. Oh my God, hubby, you, are you expressing your love to me? Sweet after bitter? Spring after winter? She was so excited that she wanted to call him. Just as she was about to do it, she felt that it wasn't right. Texting was so romantic. Her husband was already starting to be romantic. If she called him, wouldn't it ruin the atmosphere? No, she had to pretend to be reserved. Hubby, I'm about to reach the university town. I've been thinking about you. I even think about you when I'm walking. After sending the message, she held the phone under her chin and smiled foolishly. How could she care about how fierce the battle outside was? There weren't many cars on this new road. Even if two cars bumped into each other, it wouldn't cause a traffic jam. Qin Fian supported himself with his hand on the hood of his car. He was still sitting on it. He looked at Xia Qian disdainfully and curled his lips from time to time. He wrinkled his nose as if he had seen a pile of feces. Hey Samet, do you know how to drive? Yes, I got 99 points in the written exam. Xia Qian imitated Qin Fian and became a model for her car. However, her car was a little slanted. She could only sit on the hood from the side. She raised her chin and tried to make her posture as arrogant as possible. The two of them seemed to be chatting. They smiled and said, "Your car is not straight. Don't you know how to tell?" Of course I know how to tell, but now I think it's your car that is not straight. Xia Qian studied broadcasting and hosting. She often had to adapt to the situation. However, every time she had such a class, the teacher wanted to take out a ruler and hit her head like the old teachers in ancient times. Because she always talked nonsense when she couldn't win the argument. Qin Fian's phoenix eyes were very beautiful. At this time he took off his glasses and looked very charming. Looking at Qin Fian's appearance, Xia Qian was lustful again. Thinking that he was a bottom, she sighed and said calmly, "When I sit in the car, I think my car is straight. When I sit in the car, I see that your car is not straight." Qin Fian held the glasses with one hand and still supported himself on the hood of the car with the other hand. He had to think about it. This woman was impossible to reason with. He even wanted her to apologize. Okay, call the traffic police and let them deal with it. It's right to let you retake the exam and get 99 points. Because the reason you got the last point wrong is related to how the car is considered straight. Traffic police? Xia Qian knew that there was a problem with her skills. When Qin Fian mentioned the director of the traffic bureau, she was actually a little panicked. Although she knew that she had her sister's protection and she didn't need to be too afraid, she was still afraid of causing trouble for her sister. You can't even win an argument with a woman. You only know how to ask the traffic police. Funny. I forgot that you are a bottom. Of course you need to find someone to help you. Is the director of the traffic bureau the master behind you? His red phoenix eyes narrowed slightly and emitted a ruthless light. At this moment he put on the glasses again. Ah, cement. Qin Fian stood up, lifted the collar of his pink flirtatious suit, and walked towards Xia Qian. Xia Qian smiled. Handsome man. Xia Qian almost screamed when her shoulder was held tightly, but she held it in. She only stretched out her hand to grab the man's hand. Damn, little bottom is so strong. She started to think again. Was the master behind this guy even more powerful? What kind of perverts were they? Ah, Cement Miss Mississippi. Qin Fian was not angry, but his smile was cold. He exerted some force and pushed the woman onto the roof of the car. His gaze was ambiguous, but his tone was dangerous. Yes, last time you were talking about my chest and abs. Do you want me to show you? Last night you were with a man, so today you should try another woman. It's only interesting if you have a change of taste, right? Qin Fian remembered Xia Qian's wonderful expression when he said that there was nothing between men and women the last time. What was this called? Haha, it was a psychological attack. Just by looking at her green and white dog shit face, one could tell that she was disgusted to death. Ah. Although Xia Qian wanted to vomit, it was too embarrassing. There was still a friend in the car watching. She reached out and tugged on Qin Fian's shirt, smiling pervertedly. Look at you, you are so sexy. It's such a cold day and your shirt is so open. Aren't you afraid of catching a cold? If you catch a cold, my heart will ache. After saying that, her small hand reached in and touched him. Chest and abs, what's the point of looking at them? It's better to touch them. Qin Fian looked as if he had been touched by a ghost. His face suddenly turned red and he immediately let go of Xia Qian and backed away. He felt that his whole body was covered with worms and he felt uncomfortable. Xia Qian now knew that Qin Fian was puffing himself up at his own cost. Why she couldn't touch them? Was it pure? Did she only like to be touched by the Lord Commander? She was disgusted just now, but now she was playing with him. Touch them again. They feel good. Why don't we go into the car and touch them? At most, I'll let you touch them too. Xia Qian dared to say this because she was sure that Qin Fian would not touch her. He was a complete homosexual. Last time he did not touch her indiscriminately, but only verbally to scare her. Qin Fian's face turned even redder. So it was really a piece of cement. I don't need you to pay for it. He admitted defeat. It was too scary to be entangled with such a shameless woman. Xia Qian jumped over to block Qin Fian, who was about to turn and leave. Hey, don't you want a change of taste? Give it a try. I don't have a boyfriend anyway, so it's not considered cheating. Get lost. Just as Qin Fian finished yelling, the back seat door of his car was pushed open. The man who got out of the car had a gloomy look on his face. He wondered if it was because he had gone overboard with his sister-in-law's friend. Brothers don't do that. Just as he was about to complain, he saw Jiang Zhao walk past him and towards Xia Qian's car. Xia Qian was stunned. Jiang Zhao was there too? Attention Xingwu 799. Chapter 549. God, why did she embarrass herself in front of Jiang Zhao again? She even called Yi Er to apologize on the night of the wedding. Actually, she was afraid that Jiang Zhao would think that she was shameless. Great, now he was watching the show again. Yi Er was holding the phone with her head lowered and leaning against the back of the front seat. She smiled sweetly as she waited for her husband to reply to her message. She glanced at her phone several times, but there was no message. She thought that her husband was too busy at work and mistakenly thought that the message was not sent successfully. She looked at the record and saw that it was sent successfully. The car door was pulled open and Yi Er jumped in shock. The tissue paper that was covering her head fell to the ground. She was completely unaware. She turned her head and saw Jiang Zhao holding the phone. His hand was gripping the phone so tightly that his knuckles were white. She sat by the door and looked up at the man's face. His thin lips were tightly pursed into a line. His neat short hair made him look energetic. His bright eyes were burning with anger. He looked like he was about to explode. Then she looked at the man's eyes. Anger, surprise, and finally she frowned and panicked. Yi Er knew that she was wrong. She was completely wrong. This was the consequence of disobeying her superior. Her husband had clearly ordered her to do so, but she had disobeyed him. This was unforgivable. Her eyes were averted and her eyelashes fluttered. She did not dare to look into Jiang Zhao's eyes. She gently squeezed out a sound from her nose. Then she tugged the corner of her mouth and wanted to give him a smile. However, when she saw that he looked at her with disgust, her smile became ugly and she did not know whether to laugh or cry. I was wrong. I shouldn't have disobeyed you. I clearly promised you, but I secretly went back on my word. Jiang Zhao's lips were straight. When he exhaled, his voice was hoarse. Yinyi, you're asking for a beating. Yi raised her head again in a panic, looking at Jiang Zhao with fear in her eyes. Was this challenging his authority again? Why was she living such a coward? Yinyi, you coward. She stretched her neck and stuck it there. When she looked up, she was furious. Jiang Zhao, are you done? I have friends too. I have the right to make friends. My friends are here. Can't you give me some face? If you want to be angry, can't you talk about it when we get home? Even if I don't listen to you, can't you leave me some leeway outside for the sake of our relationship as husband and wife for the rest of our lives? When have I ever been rude to you? Every single time I've been bothering you. Felt that she was good at pleasing people, but she was not as good at quarreling as Xia Qian. Sometimes she was envious of Xia Qian for having an older sister like Xiaoya. Just because her younger sister said that she wanted to experience life, Xiaoya would take her to a nightclub to find gigolos. Her younger sister had provoked a rich young master outside. She had provoked him to her heart's content. She had provoked him to the point where she was about to be put on the spot. An older sister had stood up and said, "Young Master Fei Yin, are you trying to hit a woman?" She wanted to help her out. His nose and eyes responded. She deserved it. She was still a child at 17, but she had to be a father and a mother. Now that she was married, she had to live her life carefully. How could she be such a coward? Jiang Zhao's chest started to rise and fall violently. "You're still in the right. Yinyi, are you still in the right?" He bent over and extended his arm towards Yi. Yi saw Jiang Zhao's outstretched arm and instinctively resisted. She slapped it away and retreated, complaining, "Jiang Zhao, I'm not going with you. If I go with you today, I'm a coward. Let me tell you, if you embarrass me like this in front of my friends, I won't live with you anymore. You're too much." Jiang Zhao didn't care about that. He was tall. Even Yi felt uncomfortable sitting in the car, let alone someone of his height. He stuck his head into the car and grabbed the car door frame with one hand and reached out to grab Yi with the other. The girl still tried to avoid him. She knelt on the seat and grabbed Yi's hand to drag her out. Saw that Jiang Zhao didn't answer her at all, and his face was full of anger. Ever since the two of them got together, she rarely saw that bronze-masked face. Sometimes she even forgot how he looked like when she went to the Qin Palace to threaten him back then. Now that she thought about it, it was like that again. This man was like a top-notch ancient sword. He still had those exquisite patterns, he still had such a noble origin, and he still had such a high value. Now that the sword was out of its scabbard, he wanted to kill her. Because she saw the anger in his eyes growing stronger and stronger. Yi was angry and scared. At this time, Xia Qian was also frightened. "Oh no, is Jiang Zhao angry? It's fine if I cause trouble, but what if I implicate Yi?" She glanced at Qin Fian. Qin Fian frowned and asked softly, "Why is my sister-in-law in your car?" "Hey, don't talk about it. They're about to fight now. Why do you care about that?" Qin Fian scolded Xia Qian. "It's all your fault, you troublemaker. F***ck. Xia Qian really wanted to fight with Qin Fian again, but now wasn't the time to settle personal grudges. She walked behind Jiang Zhao and patted his shoulder lightly. "Brother Zhao," Qin Fian almost vomited. This woman made of cement was actually so polite. Xia Qian was about to shout again, but Jiang Zhao had already backed out of the car. When he looked at her, his eyes not only saw her, but also saw someone holding a knife, ready to chop her up. His gaze was frightening. She was so scared that she took a step back and shouted softly again, "Brother Zhao, Yi," she stuttered. "Xia Qian." Jiang Zhao didn't care about his image anymore. He reached out and clamped down on Xia Qian's shoulder. He gritted his teeth. "Xia Qian, don't think that just because you have Xiaoya protecting you, you can cause trouble all day long." Xia Qian gulped. "Men can't be like this, right? Can you be fierce to women just because you're handsome?" She scolded herself in her heart. "Xia Qian, oh Xia Qian, when will you change this habit of fantasizing about handsome men every time you see them?" I didn't do it on purpose." Jiang Zhao threw Xia Qian away. Xia Qian was pushed away and was caught by Qin Fian. Qin Fian let go of her in disgust. Xia Qian fell to the ground and cried out in pain. "Qin Fian, you stinky man who doesn't know how to be gentle with women. I curse you to have your anus burst." Qin Fian was not in the mood to care about her. Jiang Zhao got into the car again. This time he used a lot of strength and dragged Yi out. The two of them looked like they were about to fight. Yi's face was covered in blood and she kept struggling. Jiang Zhao was furious. He tightened his arms and held the woman tightly against his chest. He lifted her up and carried her away. When Qin Fian and Xia Qian saw Yi's appearance, they were so shocked that they could not speak. Xia Qian was lying on the ground with her mouth agape. Yi shouted anxiously, "Jiang Zhao, you bastard, let go of me." Jiang Zhao's ashen face did not relax just because they were on the main road. However, this place was too remote, and there was still a distance before they could reach the populated areas of Minxing Road. Yi was being dragged and carried by him, and Yi was struggling, making it difficult for him to carry her. At this moment he squatted down and flipped Yi over onto his lap. He raised his hand and slapped Yi's buttocks twice. Pia Pia. Yi was stunned. Qin Fian and Xia Qian were both shocked. After Yi was beaten, she stopped. Her father had never hit her like this since she was young. He hit her buttocks so hard that there must be finger marks on her buttocks. Not only was her head covered in blood from the collision today, she had also embarrassed herself in front of her friends. Now she was being hit by him. Jiang Zhao did not say a word. He placed Yi flat on the ground and let her stand on her own. He did not carry her anymore and forcefully pulled her by the hand towards Qin Fian's car. He pulled open the car door and placed Yi on the ground. He turned around and said, "Qin Fian, what are you trying to do? Can't you afford to compensate for the collision?" Qin Fian coughed awkwardly and quickly walked over to Jiang Zhao. Xia Qian knew that Yi was injured and that Jiang Zhao's expression was for her to see. "Brother Zhao," Jiang Zhao did not have much time to waste here. "Xia Qian, you'd better get someone to tow the car. Someone will come over immediately to revoke your license. Go back to school." "What right do you have?" Jiang Zhao stood by the car door and looked at Xia Qian. His eyes were cold as he said, "Aha, you don't have to go back to school. I've already asked the driver to take a picture of the location of the collision. I'd like to see if Qiu Xiaoye dares to come out and compensate you." Xia Qian saw that Jiang Zhao was about to get into the car and chased after him. "Hey, don't be like this. Let's not talk about the license first. I'll take Yi to the hospital. Don't meddle in her business. From now on." Jiang Zhao said in a deep voice, "If you dare to ask Yi to sit in your car again, Xia Qian, I'll make sure you never get a driver's license for the rest of your life. Try me if you don't believe me." Jiang Zhao got into the car and closed the door. Qin Fian got into the front seat and closed the door as well. Yi had been beaten up and felt very wronged. She shrank into the other corner of the car door and bit her lip. She looked out the window and the blood on her forehead lessened. She didn't want to see Jiang Zhao, that tyrant. Jiang Zhao told the driver the address of the private hospital and asked if there was a first aid kit in the car. The driver took out a first aid kit from the front drawer. It was not as complete as the one at home, but it had alcohol, sterile cotton, and gauze. Qin Fian turned to look at Yi and asked kindly, "Sister-in-law, are you dizzy?" "Don't call me sister-in-law. Shut up." Yi and Jiang Zhao's voices were not soft. Qin Fian saw that the two of them were mocking him at the same time and sighed. His eyes flashed innocently. "God, I can't afford to offend you. You're too fierce." Yi continued to look out the window. Jiang Zhao was so angry that he didn't even have the energy to scold her. If he hadn't seen the small wound on her forehead when he pulled her away, he would have torn Xia Qian apart. He dabbed the sterile cotton with alcohol. "Come here." The woman tilted her head even more and ignored him. She had had enough. He actually hit her. She liked him so much and thought about him all the time. He actually hit her. They hadn't even lost and she couldn't stand it anymore. "I told you to come here." He reached out and grabbed the stubborn woman's chin. Just as he was about to pull her towards him, he realized that the woman was glaring at him fiercely. The whites of her eyes were red and watery, but there were no tears. She was biting her lips tightly and trembling a little. Even the tip of her nose was trembling slightly. "Disinfect your wound first before going to the hospital." Although his voice was still cold, it was obviously lower. Yi released her lips that she had been biting, but then she bit her lower lip with her upper teeth. She reached out and pushed away the cotton ball that Jiang Zhao was about to put on her face. "It's none of your business. If I don't care about you, who will?" Looking at his wife's pitiful face covered in blood, he couldn't help but get angry. Although the injury wasn't serious, what if it was serious? A powerful novel. Songshu 566. Chapter 550. Xia Qian cares about you? I told you not to play with her. Did you listen to me? Look at her. She doesn't have a proper temperament. She's crazy. Are you sure you want to play with her? Did you even listen to me? Did you get yourself into this state, or am I wrong? You're right, you're all right, okay? Anyway, you have the final say. Did you ask for my opinion? Can't I have any of my own wishes? His nose was suddenly so sour that he couldn't control it. Salty streams rushed out of his eyes. His nose twitched as he inhaled. Yeer's voice was so loud that she couldn't calm down. The driver in front didn't dare to show the slightest bit of curiosity. Qin Fian pretended to look at the scenery outside the window. Jianghu, can you be a little more fair? What didn't I listen to you? Other than the marriage, I was wrong and despicable. Tell me, what didn't I listen to you? She rubbed the back of her hand on her face and her face was smudged again. Jianghu knew that at this time if he couldn't hold back his anger, he would have to argue. Okay, treat the wound first. Let's not talk about it. Yeer still refused to let Jianghu touch her forehead. She pushed his hand away and cried as she complained, why don't you say it? Jianghu, think about it yourself. Is there anything that I haven't done well? Is there anything I'm not sensible about? You want me to be dignified and reserved, elegant and generous when I go out. I've been married to you for so long, but I haven't even worn bright green or dazzling red. I tried my best to please you. Every pair of your leather shoes was wiped by me. Did I ask someone else to do it? When we cooked at home, didn't you have the most favorite dishes on the table? When you went out to socialize, no matter how late it was, when wasn't I waiting for you at the door? How many times have you fallen asleep on the floor next to the sofa after drinking too much? Which time haven't I dragged you upstairs? Tell me I'm your wife. Even if I forced you to get married, it's my fault. I shouldn't have fought with Ouyang Yin for the position of Mrs. Jiang. I'll try my best to make up for it, right? Have I ever interfered between you and her? Didn't I ignore it all along? What else do you want? Qin Fian's chest was full of air, and he slowly exhaled. He didn't want to disturb the couple's quarrel. As Jianghu listened to Yeer's words, his heart felt numb and uncomfortable. How could he not know that Yeer had done all this for him? That was why he always thought that she was pretty good and always tried to treat her better. But when she mentioned making amends for his mistakes, his expression changed. He hated it when she brought up Ouyang Yin. She didn't care? If she didn't care, would she have the right to say it in front of others? She also wanted to tell everyone that she was Jiangzhao's wife and didn't care if he had other women outside. Who wasn't at the age of 19? Who wasn't colorful and pure at the age of love? Even if she was precocious, she should be at the age where she had feelings for love. If her lover was unfaithful, how could she not fly into a rage? However, she had to act like an older woman who was indifferent to her husband's affair. This was clearly telling others that she didn't care about him at all, not at all. She was telling others that she didn't have any feelings for him at all. Are you done? No. It was rare for Yeer to vent. If she didn't say it out loud, she would feel uncomfortable. She sniffled and sniffled but still wanted to finish her sentence in one go. I'm so obedient to you. Can't you make me feel a little better? Do I have friends? After Dad's accident, which classmate in the elite school wasn't afraid that I would cause trouble for their family? They couldn't wait to stay as far away as possible. Even my fiancé broke off the engagement. Only Zhengling was good to me, but Mother Zheng was also afraid that I would go to Zhengling. I didn't even have a friend who wanted to chat with me. It wasn't easy for me to meet Sister Xiaoya and Xia Qian. At that time, they knew about my family and didn't even know about your existence. But they didn't hide from me and were willing to be my friends. I only have these few friends now and you still don't allow me to play with them. Are you trying to make me suffer from depression? It's best if I get depression and commit suicide. Then you'll be widowed and won't have to get a divorce. You can marry Ouyang Yin openly and no one will say anything bad about you. In the face of Yeer's tearful cries, Jiangzhao's eyes were cold. Slowly there was a hint of warmth. Ignoring her resistance, he grabbed her chin and wiped the blood off her face with a wet disinfectant cotton ball. One by one, the blood-red cotton balls faded and he threw them into the trash bag. He knew the reason for his bad attitude. First, she didn't listen to him and continued to play with that perverted Xia Qian. Second, she lied to him again when she sent him a text message. Third, her face was covered in blood when he was about to confront her. Fourth, she refused to get out of the car even when her face was covered in blood. She dared to sit in the car of a driver who couldn't even drive straight. She even dared to complain, resist, and say that she didn't want to live with him. He was troubled by too many things, and the one thing he shouldn't be troubled by was the fact that she didn't love him. He married her because he wanted to protect her. So many people bullied her and could have killed her. Her mother didn't want her, her father was in jail, and her brother wanted her to work the night shift at a nightclub. No matter where she went, she had to live under someone else's roof. At least for a girl like her who didn't have any education or work experience, it was impossible for her to find a high-paying job. He pushed her away and she had nowhere to go. He knew that she used him. It was an established fact. He knew that she didn't love him. It was also an established fact. He was too anxious. When she mentioned Ouyang Yin just now, he was troubled. After being troubled, he forgot his original intention. He didn't care about whether she loved him or not, but now he had to force her. He didn't even allow her to say anything outside. He even wanted to deceive himself. Love was a meaningless thing. Those young people who started a relationship in their teens would say things like, "I love you, do you love me?" Or, "We'll be together forever." He was past that age. Even if he wasn't, he couldn't say those words. He felt terrible. After Yi Er said those words, he was afraid that his voice would tremble. He wanted to calm down. He didn't look into her eyes. Her eyes were filled with tears, and the tears washed away the blood stains on her face. After her face was clean, she still pouted and glared at him. Before they got married, he had never seen her cry. She didn't cry in front of him. There were times when he accidentally saw it. She knew that she didn't have to endure it after getting married. He took a piece of tissue paper from the back seat of the car. He didn't take it seriously. He just crumpled it into a ball and rubbed it on her face. There was a lazy, teasing tone in his voice. "Well, it's good that you know. Live well. Otherwise you can't even blame me. After you die, do you expect me to take care of your father and brother? Why should I? Do you think that I, Jiang Zhao, am a reincarnation of God? Besides, like you said, after you die, I can marry someone else openly. My new wife definitely won't agree to me taking care of my deceased wife's family. At most, she'll give them some money. Taking care of my deceased wife's family is such an ideal situation. It definitely won't appear in my life. You know that I'm not that kind." Qin Fian was playing with his phone. At this moment, he took out his earphones and plugged them in. He leaned his head back on the pillow and listened to music. Yi Er gritted her teeth as she listened to Jiang Zhao. Great, he was looking forward to her getting married. She didn't want to. She wanted to live a colorful life. Dream on. I won't let you have such a good time." The corners of the man's mouth lifted slightly. It was a sinister smile. The tears on her face were wiped clean. "So, cooperate." When they arrived at the hospital, Jiang Zhao didn't allow Qin Fian and the driver to follow him. Qin Fian stayed in the car obediently. It seemed like there was no chance for him to look at the plot of land in 326. There was no chance at all. Forget it. Family was more important. Jiang Zhao pulled Yi Er upstairs and treated her wound carefully again. The doctor said, "Although the injury isn't serious, the surface of the wound is damaged to the dermis. There will probably be a scar." When Yi Er heard that there would be a scar, she stood up from the stool. "No, there's some kind of inseam now. You can't see the wound, right?" The doctor said, "But your wound isn't neat. We can't sew it like that. It's just a little bit. It's okay. You have bangs, so it's okay. Besides, it'll only be a little white and fainter after it's healed." "No." Yi Er stomped her feet anxiously. When Jiang Zhao was with her, apart from doing things in a straightforward manner, he also liked to reach out and wipe her forehead. He would brush away the loose hair on her forehead and say that her forehead was full and beautiful. In the morning, she knew that Jiang Zhao was very gentlemanly and liked to give her a good morning kiss on her forehead. "Just a little. Do you have to go that far?" Jiang Zhao snorted. "That's why I say that you girls nowadays are so superficial. After all the fooling around, the doctor said that it wouldn't be obvious. Who's the one who keeps looking to see if there's a small scar on your forehead, and one that's small and faint at that? You. Weren't you the one who wanted to see it? What a disgrace. Now you don't want to see it anymore? No one wants to see it anymore?" Yi Er knew that a woman would doll herself up for the man who loves her. Jiang Zhao knew that it really didn't matter. After the X-ray was taken, the waiting time was slightly longer. Even if she got in through the back door, she would only have to wait a little shorter than others. Yi Er lay on the special lounge, which was even more comfortable than the sofa in the hotel suite. "I already said that there's no need to take the X-ray." Jiang Zhao stood in the corner of the bookshelf and picked something to pass the time. "I'm afraid that you'll hurt your head." Yi Er huffed. "I didn't." Jiang Zhao happened to pick up a magazine and walk towards her. "Yes, you didn't hurt your head because your brain has never been working well. Who knows, maybe after this accident you'll turn from an idiot to a smart person." Jiang Zhao. Yi Er panicked again. She was angered by him again. Couldn't this man have at least one good point about her? "What part of my brain is not working well? When has my brain been not working well?" Jiang Zhao sat down on the single-seater massage sofa beside Yi Er and pressed the switch on the armrest. After adjusting the pressure, his calves and back, which were more tired, slowly relaxed. He flipped open the magazine and saw that the first page was a car advertisement. He ignored the perfect streamlined car in the advertisement and saw the slogan, Preventive Active Safety System. It would have been better if he hadn't seen it. The moment he saw it, his mind was filled with images of her bleeding head. His dry and warm palms started to sweat. His voice was not loud, but it was a reprimand. If your brain is working well, why would you sit in that idiot Xia Qian's car? Yi Er sat up. You're doing it again. Awesome novel, Hongcha 866. Chapter 551. Great, she's starting to resist again. He wasn't talking about whether or not he wanted to be friends with Xia Qian. He was talking about the car issue. She couldn't talk about that either. Yeah, I have to remind you that you can't just sit in a woman's car. Besides, don't you know that she didn't have a car before? You clearly know that she just bought a car. How dare you get in? Don't we have a car? If you don't like the car in the garage, you can buy another one. Do you think I'm short of money? Even if it's too late to buy another one, didn't I give you the money for a taxi? Get in and get out. Jiangzhao you. As soon as Yer mentioned the car ride, she was reminded of how he had dragged her out of the car and slapped her twice. She didn't know if she would dare to lie down like this the next day after she woke up. He even scolded her. Why do you dislike me so much? Why are you talking about me not liking you again? Isn't this your fault? If you're wrong, you have to change. You still haven't admitted your mistake. You still say that you don't like me. You're fierce to me and you even hit me. Yer turned to look at Jiang Zhao pitifully. Jiang Zhao was frustrated. He wasn't frustrated because Yer didn't repent. He was frustrated because she used this tactic every time. She kept saying that Xia Qian was like cement. When she ran to the Qin palace to threaten him, when she bickered with him at the nightclub, when she drank the vodka that she couldn't drink, when she took off her high heels to chase after robbers, wasn't she also like cement? But the speed at which she changed her expression was just like now. She was still shouting fiercely, "You're doing it again." Now a pair of black, watery rabbit eyes appeared. You still hit me. Her voice was loud, but her tone was completely different. I hit you because you didn't listen to me. Jiang Zhao didn't think he hit the wrong person. She was bleeding and didn't need to go to the hospital. What was she trying to do? She even hid in the car and wanted to be friends with Xia Qian. She wanted to go out to play. This little liar. But you hit me in front of so many people, you made me lose face. Ah. Sob, I'm so embarrassed. My butt hurts so much. Ah, sob. Yer burst into tears the moment she started crying. Under normal circumstances she would endure it. For example, in front of Ouyang Yen she could endure it and had to endure it. Now that only Jiang Zhao was here, she didn't believe that anyone would laugh at her. Anyway, she had already embarrassed herself today. There was also another mentality. It was just like when she was reprimanded by her father when she was young. If his tone was a little harsh and made her sad, cry, or go on a hunger strike, her father would definitely apologize to her. When Jiang Zhao saw Yer raise his head and yell that his butt hurt, he remembered that he was so angry that he hit him a little too hard. But at that time, his mood was just like when he was a child and fell from a tree. His father was worried that he would get hurt, but when he saw that he was fine, he picked him up and hit him on the butt. He even scolded, "How many times have I told you not to climb so high? Won't you die from the fall? Do you still dare to go next time? Do you still dare to go?" After scolding him, he gave him another slap on the butt. She was crying so hard. How painful must it be? Come, let me take a look. Let me take a look. Throwing away the magazine in his hand, he strode over to Yer's side with his long legs. Before Yer could react, the man had already unbuttoned her pants and pulled down the zipper. With a strong hand, he picked up the woman and flipped her over. His fingers stuck into the waist of her pants and pulled it down. Her butt was exposed. Ah, what are you doing? Yer screamed again. Dong Xuebing was so fast. He actually took off her pants. Seeing the red finger marks on Yer's snow-white buttocks, Jiang Zhao's heart ached. He squatted down and blew at her buttocks. "Honey, I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. Let me blow at it for you. I'll take some medicine and apply it to you later." The nurse outside heard the patient shouting in the resting room and ran over. She was worried that the patient was in a critical condition. She pushed the door open and saw the mayor kissing his wife's butt. Dong Xuebing must have just kissed her and he is going to kiss her again. Nurse Miss was confused. The door was already open. What should she do? Should she leave? Or should she leave? Or should she leave immediately? Just when she was hesitating on how to end her life, the mayor spoke. Get The nurse knew that the mayor's angry face and fierce eyes meant that he wanted to say, "Get lost." But he was worried about his public image. So, he decided to write it down and get lost immediately. Jianghu was furious. His wife's butt was seen by someone and he did not want anyone else to see it. That's why he said he was going to get some ointment for her butt. But in the end, someone came in and saw her butt. Dong Xuebing left Ye's butt on the sofa and stood up. He walked to the double doors and locked them. Laid on the sofa. She wanted to get up, but Jiang Zhao pressed her down and made her continue to lie on the sofa. He said guiltily, "Just lie on the sofa. You can't even lie down or sit down." "My butt is damaged?" Yi stretched out her hand to touch her butt. "What does he mean by damaged?" Jiang Zhao grabbed Yi's hand, but his own hand was gently stroking Yi's butt. He was very melancholic. "Oh no, I definitely can't use it tonight. After a long time it would definitely swell. Why did he hit her so hard back then? His hands were too cheap. She will not be able to sit down when she goes back. Could it be that he was a violent person? That's impossible." Dong Xuebing felt that he was a gentleman. A gentleman wearing a lion's skin is still a gentleman. "Jiang Zhao." Yi pushed Jiang Zhao's hand away and pulled up her pants. "You bastard. Is my butt really that useless? Is my butt only useful in your eyes?" As long as he was with her, his mind would be filled with those censored images. But now that she was injured, she actually still wanted to use her butt at night. This was considered as having tender feelings for the fairer sex. His heart ached for her butt. No matter if it was in the front or back position, it would cause discomfort. So, was he prepared to let her go tonight? Jiang Zhao did not understand Yi's thoughts. "Then what else do you want your butt to be used for?" "My butt can still be sat down." "Done?" Jiang Zhao smiled mischievously. "That's right. Other than sitting, her butt could still be done." Why didn't he think of that at that time? He originally thought that she would not be able to sit down properly tonight, but she still wanted to do it. Little pervert. Xia Qian and the others probably did not lead her astray. When it was just the two of them, she would even find that kind of game on the internet to play. See the game in the group. The two sent her meat that day. It was normal for her to have such thoughts now. Yes. Do it. If you feel that your butt is better and there's no problem, then we can talk about doing it. I don't want you to complain that your butt hurts while doing it. Yi looked at Jiang Zhao's cheap smile and was so angry that she stuck out her chest and promised. "I won't complain that my butt hurts while sitting. If my butt can't even be used for sitting, then I'm not Yun Yi." Jiang Zhao really had to hand it to her. This little girl was getting more and more mature recently. When she said, "Do it," she said it so confidently and boldly. She was really very likable. Even with her butt in this state, she was still thinking about the great career between husband and wife. It was rare. Yi pulled up her pants and stood up. She did not want to lie down anymore. At this time she did not want to sit down. The wound on her head did not need to be stitched. She cleaned it up and applied some medicine. The doctor said that there was no need to stick anything on it. It would be better in a few days. Yi tidied up her hair and covered it. It was not obvious at all. It was fine as long as her father did not find out. After getting the x-ray, the doctor said that she was fine and her brain was not injured. Jiang Zhao heaved a sigh of relief. As long as her brain was not injured, he could let Xia Qian go and let her retake her driver's license. As long as she did not seduce Yi to get in her car, he would not cause trouble for her. Back in the car, Yi's buttocks really hurt at this time. The places that should be swollen and the places that should be red and purple all stood up. Sitting in the back of Qin Fian's car, she was quite uncomfortable. She leaned sideways and only used a little of her buttocks to touch the seat. Jiang Zhao saw that Yi was very uncomfortable sitting there. He originally wanted to bring her to Qin Fian to look at the plot of land. But now he thought better of it. He wanted her to go home and lie down. It was better for her to go to school directly. Anyway, it was a cram school. There was no need to be too formal. He had checked her previous grades. 80 marks was not bad. She often failed math. Even if the Yun family did not decline in the past, she would not be able to go to a first-tier university. Unless she donated a building to the school and saw if they would accept a special place. He could not do something so ostentatious. He wanted her to take the exams herself. He could help her make up for it. Science and engineering was out of the question. Arts had lower marks and was much easier. However, it was not very useful. It was better to learn management or political economy. Not to mention that the marks were not too high, these things were practical. After all, in China's environment, economic development was mostly linked to politics. If she learned these things, she could go to the company if she wanted to. If she did not want to go, he could get a job as a civil servant. It was very stable. Fian, let's go take a look the day after tomorrow. I have a few meetings tomorrow and can't leave. Let's go have dinner today and then send me back to Ninth Mansion. Qin Fian was not surprised that Jiang Zhao would say this. Okay. Fian, don't tell Grandpa about what happened today. The last time we stayed in the hospital, it was your big mouth that spread the news. Brother, you wronged me. That day it was not my big mouth at all. It was Grandpa who asked you and sister-in-law to go back for a night. That was why I said that you had to stay in the hospital and did not have time to go back. Qin Fian's innocence did not get any sympathy from Jiang Zhao. Instead, he looked like he was saying, I will never believe you again. Back at Ninth Mansion, Jiang Zhao pulled Ye. When they were about to enter the door, he coughed. Honey, does your butt hurt so much that it's hard to walk? Yeah. Then when Dad comes over later, can you bear with it? Jiang Zhao. Ye tilted her head and glared at Jiang Zhao. Jiang Zhao thought to himself, honey, I'm so pitiful now, so pitiful. When Dad sees that you're injured and asks about it and you tell him the truth, I'm done for. Dad won't care if you hit your head first. He will definitely blame me for hitting your butt. Later, he will say something like, you're not suitable for each other. Divorce. How can I afford to be hurt? He coughed again and put his arm around her waist. He said stubbornly, if Dad finds out, I'll go on a business trip for a month. Ye spat blood. I can't afford to be hurt, I can't afford to be hurt. This bastard. Attention. Xinwu 799. Chapter 552. If you want to go on a business trip, so be it. You are the one who slapped me. Can't you find someone to stand up for me? Jiang Zhao saw Ye was serious. She was afraid that he would go on a business trip. Logically speaking, after sending her home at this time, she should go back to work in the building. However, he was very worried about her butt. Firstly, he had to apply medicine for her. Secondly, he was afraid that she would accidentally cry in front of his father-in-law because she was still young. After all, it was very painful outside. Honey, how about this? Behave well and don't let Dad find out. After we go upstairs, I'll apply medicine for you. Then I'll let you spank my butt. Do you think it is worth it? What? Ye felt it was unbelievable. Jiang Zhao had made such a request? Last time, she knew Dong Xuebing's reaction when her father wanted them to get a divorce. Dong Xuebing will not get a divorce like this. It will be bad if other people know about it. Which deputy mayor got a divorce after getting married? You didn't hear me clearly? What I mean is, you just don't let Dad find out that I had slapped your butt. When we go back, you will slap my butt back. Do you think it is enough? Ye smiled. The more she smiled, the happier she became. Her eyes were curved from smiling. She couldn't hold it in any longer. She put her hand to her mouth and then simply covered her mouth and laughed. Fine, fine, fine. For this I will bear with it. I will stick to it until the end. When both of them were discussing, the door opened. It was Yun Hongwei. He had nothing to do today and he was different from the other prisoners. There were many people watching him and he could only stay at home and read the newspapers. When he heard Ye and Jiang Zhao's voice, he opened the door. Why are you both back so early? Have you had lunch? Yes, Dad. Ye smiled happily. Alright, it's good that you've eaten. Why is Jiang Zhao back? Dad, I bumped into Ye on the way back, so I sent her home. It is lunch break now and I will take a nap before returning to the building. Jiang Zhao said as he entered the house with Ye and started to change his shoes. The two of them chatted and laughed as they went upstairs. Yun Hongwei looked at the young couple and felt quite gratified. Jiang Zhao treated Ye quite well. In the beginning, when Ye told him that Jiang Zhao treated her well, he did not believe her. Now he believed her. The couple was in the room. Ye had changed into a dress and was lying on the bed. Her panties were tucked under her legs. Jiang Zhao carefully cleaned her up and applied medicine. The medicine was cold with a hint of cool mint. After applying the ointment, Jiang Zhao asked Ye to put his butt on the bed and not wear pants. I'm not sleeping. What are you doing instead of sleeping? It's best to take a nap at noon. People say that if you have a nap at noon, you won't have to worry about work. No, I'm not going to sleep now. If I sleep, I'll be annoyed. As she spoke, she propped herself up. She would be very annoyed if she didn't take revenge. I have to hit you first so that I won't be annoyed. Honey, let's talk about it when you're better. Jiang Zhao supported Yi. What did you say just now? You said that as long as you deceive Dad, you'll let me hit your butt. No, I must hit you back. I didn't say that I won't let you hit me back. But think about it. Your butt is useless now. It's not flexible. If you hit me hard, won't it be taxing on your body? What if she hit him very hard? He still had to go to work and couldn't move? Even if he wanted to hit her, he had to wait for the weekend to recuperate at home. Jiang Zhao thought in a manly manner. He did not want to deny it. Who said that? Who said that? I already said that my butt is not only useful for that. My butt can still sit. Can still sit. If you don't believe me, I'll sit for you right now. Honey, honey, good honey. As long as you don't hit me now, I'll do it. I promise you everything. Yi pushed Jiang Zhao away and walked to the dressing table. I'll sit. She sat on the dressing table. Her butt felt like it was being trampled by 10,000 grass mud horses. Her butt was trembling from the horses' hooves. It hurt so much. Yi stood up. She sat too hard and her face turned pale from the pain. Jiang Zhao saw this and knew that it was over. He misunderstood. But he was unwilling to admit it. See, I told you that you can't sit. Your butt is broken. You still don't believe me. You can sit for another one. What did you say? What? I said that your butt is broken and you can't even sit, but you insisted on sitting. Now you can't even lie down. Yi was ashamed. So he did not do what he said? How embarrassing. It's all because of you. All right. I'll let you hit me back. Pi. Ah. It hurts. The person who screamed was not Jiang Zhao but Yi. She shook her reddened palm and said sadly, Oh my God, is your butt made of metal? Why are you so tight? I'm used to it. Whenever I feel danger, I'm used to tightening my muscles. Honey, I'll come back at night to help you apply medicine. I'm going to work now. Sleep well. Jiang Zhao, your butt is too hard. I'm at a disadvantage. I don't want to hit you with my hands anymore. I want to change my weapon. Jiang Zhao fled the scene. It was not that he did not love his wife, but he did not know how to coax her anymore. She had hit him, it was swollen and it hurt. Now that she had hit him back, she wanted to blame his butt for the pain. If this continued, he would not be able to go to work. Jiang Zhao had just reached the government building when he received a call from Qin Fian. Brother, did you see the news just now? No, I didn't have time. What's the matter? Jiang Zhao walked out of the elevator and went to his office. The land at 326 can't be bought anymore. It said that the mercury level is too high. It's only suitable for a landfill. Is it a statement from the government? Yes. Then do you still want to go there? When Jiang Zhao called, he did not mention the key words or the land. In this circle there were always ears. It was difficult to find someone to trust. No, so I won't look at it. This matter is over. Qin Fian seemed very happy. Fortunately, the news came out at the right time. Otherwise, Grandpa would scold me again if I bought a piece of land for a landfill. Okay, anyway, it's your own business. You can make your own decision. If you don't cause trouble, it'll save me a lot of trouble. Jiang Zhao hung up the phone and saw Lu Qing standing at the door waiting for him. The corners of his mouth turned down and he shrugged. If Lu Qing could make such a humorous gesture, then the main character who would give him a headache must have come. Seng Tingting. Jiang Zhao gently clenched one hand into a fist and supported it on his waist. The other hand touched his forehead. He was really a little disheartened. Then, with a huff, he let out a long breath. When he pushed open the door and stepped into the office, Jiang Zhao stood tall and straight with an outstanding aura. Good afternoon, Tingting. Brother Zhao, I've been waiting for you for so long. Where are you going? You have to drink all the soup I made. Seng Tingting was playing the role of a good wife and mother today. The last time she went to the Qin family, old Master Qin kept saying that Jiang Zhao was afraid of gaining weight because Yi's cooking was too good. He didn't want to eat out every day and had to eat at home. What was so great about cooking? She could also learn. I'm going home to take an afternoon nap with your sister-in-law. Jiang Zhao directly walked around the thermos on the table and said something more important. He knew that every time Seng Tingting came, Lu Qing would very cooperatively follow her in. Today was no exception. When Lu Qing heard Jiang Zhao say this, he couldn't help but pfft and looked at Jiang Zhao. Jiang Zhao gave him a warning glare. What? There's an afternoon nap time in the building. You can also go home and sleep with your girlfriend. He knew that he had never joked with Jiang Zhao like this before. It must be a requirement of the plot. Lu Qing thickened his skin and said, Zhengling is more busy. There's no such thing as an afternoon nap. He can only rest when the guests leave. "Ah, are you saying that it's too easy in the building?" At this time Jiang Zhao was a little bored. He sat on the sofa and glanced at Lu Qing, then turned to look at Zheng Tingting. "Tingting, tell me, is that what Lu Qing means? Should I let him work overtime until he can't sleep at night?" Zheng Tingting was obviously unhappy. She snorted. "What does it have to do with me whether he can sleep at night or not? Tingting, I'm not criticizing you, but you can find something to do after you graduate. For example, you can take the civil service exam or learn how to do business from your mother. You're so idle all day. Aren't you afraid that people will say that rich people's daughters are useless? Isn't your wife unemployed too? I went to university after all. I'm better than her, right? Your sister-in-law has a lot of things to do all day long. When do you think she has time to come to the building to look for me?" Zheng Tingting said disdainfully. "What is she busy with? She might as well do the housework and the nanny's chores. We have servants to cook and wash clothes. When the time comes, her hands will be rough and rough. Occasionally, when she's in a good mood, she will do it. That's fun." Jiang Zhao's patience to joke suddenly disappeared. His face darkened. "Tingting, you've gone overboard." Zheng Tingting said unrepentantly. "Ha, when have I?" "Lu Qing, you go out first. I have something to call you." This was the first time Jiang Zhao took the initiative to ask Lu Qing to leave after Zheng Tingting came. Lu Qing left tactfully. "Call me if you need anything." His face hurt. "Okay, I know." Seeing Lu Qing close the door, Jiang Zhao lit a cigarette. "Tingting, you shouldn't judge what your sister-in-law does." "How am I judging? I'm telling the truth. Isn't she just a nanny? Her family is ruined and she has such a low education level. Isn't all she can do to make men happy? Why would you fall for a cook?" The corner of Jiang Zhao's mouth twitched. He reached out and put out the cigarette in the ashtray. When he put out the cigarette, he used a lot of force. The yezi that didn't turn gray was all over the ashtray. No one would be able to stand others criticizing their wife like this. However, this person was Zheng Tingting, the daughter of the provincial party secretary. He had to tolerate it. His voice was low and sullen. "Tingting, tell me then. What's so good about me in your eyes? Why are you so clingy?" Zheng Tingting was smug. "You're handsome, have a good figure, have a good family background, have a few degrees and have no scandals. You won't fool around with other women outside. Although you ignore me sometimes, I think you're very gentlemanly." Jiang Zhao sneered. "How do you know that I won't fool around outside?" Zheng Tingting looked at Jiang Zhao's expression and was unsure. However, she was firm in her thoughts. "I'm talking about sleeping with other women. You won't do that." Jiang Zhao's smile widened. "How many politicians have you seen fooling around outside? Do you know if they've fooled around outside?" Did she think that Jiang Zhao was still a virgin after living for almost 30 years? Childish. "I don't believe you. You don't see things that you haven't seen. Tingting, I think you're naive. You can see my good points and others can see them too. But can you see my ugly side? You think I'm a gentleman, but how can you be so sure that I'm not a beast? Anyway, I don't believe you. Come and see." Hongcha 866, that you're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.